Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today, of course, is Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2021. It is Hollywood After Dark. Do you know where your movie talk is? It's right here, getting itself the hot goss it needs to get through the holidays. If you're looking for a conversation starter to have with your uncle who still wears a MAGA hat knowing that the future of that party is nothing, then this is the place for you to come up with an alternative form of conversation to kick off the night. So why don't we get the hell into it and have ourselves a grand Christmas Eve. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Christmas time 2021. I don't know about you. I'm glad. I'm happy. It's almost done, right? We're halfway through the festivities, really, so to speak, tonight. What we have is a nice little break. You know, I don't know what time it is where you are right now. It's about 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's good. You know, my kids are down for their long winter's nap. The presents are all wrapped. Everything is pretty much ready to go for the morning. Then, of course, it comes quick with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who now understand the concept of Santa and the fact that they get free shit. So it's going to be an early morning for me, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a late night here on the show. A lot to cover today. Surprisingly, Christmas Eve, a ton of stuff. A ton of fun things to go over today. But let me take a quick look here at the chat, seeing who's here. I see a lot of our returning Quad Squad. I think I'm probably going to end up taking that name. We're going to probably end up using it. I think it's going to be great. I see, let's see a quick chat shout out here. I see Geek Studios. Merry Christmas, buddy. Luke Stone, Donovan, Mo Moon, Black Ops Jimbo. What's going on, buddy? He was here last night, had a lot of fun on the show. Had a real, I would argue that Jimbo had a bit of a religious experience last night. He was like, this is what unfiltered really is. Surun Itemi asks what I got my kids for Christmas. Well, it's a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So some clothes, some educational material. Really, the rest of the family got them like a lot of big stuff. Like their grandmother got them a tablet, like a Leapfrog tablet, like that's like $200 to go on top of the iPad Air 2 she gave them last year, which they haven't even used because it's a fucking iPad Air 2. You're not going to give that to a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at the time. Soon, though, they'll be old enough to where they could use the iPad Air 2, but, you know, whatever. And we got them a bunch of Frozen stuff because I like Frozen. So it's going to be a lot of fun in the morning. I think I got them some clothes as well, like I said. You know, I don't remember all of it. There's a fair amount of stuff there that was gotten. I wasn't always involved in all of it, to be honest with you. But I did get them some stuff. It's going to be good. I know this is going to sound so bad. Like, you don't know what you got your kids. No. I know. There's a lot. So I don't have it all locked down right now. Donovan, I said hi to. Kira, what's going on there? H. Bart's counting himself in there. I says Ronaldo. I see Peace Walker. I see Resonant Justice. Motherfucker, where are you? You have a link. Don't act like you don't. And all right, let's play catch up here with everybody. Jimbo said lots to cover. There's actually lots to cover. There really is a lot to cover. Surprisingly. Some interesting stuff went down there. Luke Stone here says $1.5 billion at least for Spidey. We're going to be talking about that there. Film Goblin says, I love you, Matt Jarbo. No, you don't. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. It's Christmas. If you lie to me on Jesus' holiday, that's a one-way ticket to hell. Sorry. H-E double hockey sticks. That's kind of where it's at. Next week is the return of Boba Fett and Trey Silver. Well, there is definitely a Boba Fett thing that came out today, actually. A lot of people are talking about that. We're going to talk about that one here. UOD asking, do I make sugar cookies as an Xmas tradition with my kids? I'm a diabetic. So no, I don't do that. I'm trying to push back everything that on that front, which is hard to do this time of year. All right. You don't need to do that. Well, Jimbo, send me a message on Twitter and I'll send you a link, man, if you want to come on in. So there's that. RPK here asking the question. So is Ben Affleck coming back as Batman, or is Syl wrong? It's not that Syl is wrong. I think Syl believes it, right? Or, you know, and I'm not trying to argue, say anything negative against Syl. I do like Syl. Mikey believes that he's coming back. I personally don't believe that he's coming back. I really don't believe that he's going to end up coming back at all. But then again, look, I could be wrong. I think he's going to go in the Flash. I think the Flash is going to be it. And I think it's going to be a nice send off for the character, which is, you know what, that's perfectly fine, man. Perfectly fine to have a nice send off for the character. There's nothing wrong with that. Kind of allowing for I don't want to say like a retcon. I don't want to say, you know, like it's something along the lines of you know, like getting rid of the character, writing him out, but you could give him a happy ending. You know, I mean, if we it's not like we haven't seen it before. What happened to Christian Bale at the end of what's it called? You know, at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, right? He decided to retire as Batman, and then he decided that he wanted to you know, go to Italy with Catwoman and have fun there. Right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point, is that he also made sure to let Alfred know that he was okay, which was a nice send off for the character. But that Batman got a happy ending. And in 2012, that was not the thing that people were having trouble with in regards to The Dark Knight Rises. Not at all. So really, it's one of those situations where anything could really happen. I mean, I personally want them to give him a happy ending, because if they do give him a happy ending, then I think it's going to be a good time, and one that I feel is it's going to be good for the fans. I think it's going to be cathartic for the fans. That's what I think is going to happen. So, all right, Jimbo, I saw the message. I definitely am. I sent you a link already. Come on in. Tony Izzo here says, "Hey there, Wad Squad." That's right. H Bart's here says, "No Fortnite, RJ. Let it die. Let it die." It's not going to die, unfortunately. It's not going to die. DeGrassi here says, "He's real if you want him to be. It's Christmas." And you know what? Here's the thing with that. That's actually a fair point. It is Christmas, folks. I don't want to be a bah humbug Ebenezer Scrooge. I have opinions. Not everyone likes my opinions. That is fundamentally true at this point. However, I do feel that we are in a place where anything could happen. I'm just going to allow myself to not get excited for something, therefore to be disappointed down the road. I think if anything, I'm just going to end up being, you know, very much kind of a very pessimistic, negative Nancy type, but I do it out of love, even though no one likes it. No one likes it when I say the truth on that one there. All right, let's see here. What gives with the Syl and Mikey giggling stream? Is that how they deflect? Okay, Degrassi, I don't know what you're talking about on that one. What were they giggling about? So if you want to fill me in on that one, or maybe perhaps if there is a video link you can send me, we can react to that. If it's chuddy enough, we could put it into a chud watch situation. I don't quite know. However, let me know on that one. H. Bart's here says, George R.R. Martin is wrong. He failed Game of Thrones, not Dan and Dave. I will die on that hill. You and me alone, buddy. You and me alone will stand there. And we'll die on that hill together. But of course, that conversation will come down the road a little bit. Joining me right now is, of course, Jimbo. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. I woke up at about, I would say, 11 o'clock today after being up so late last night. Oh, man. It was an interesting experience. I think I'm now indoctrinated into the $3 theater now.
Like I said, when you come here, it's a different experience all entirely. It's like there's jokes, a lot of terrible humor, me doing horrible over-the-top accents, and trying to not offend people, but ending up doing it anyway. So that's kind of the whole issue. Real quick here, You Do Suck says, Merry Christmas, Matt. Same to you, buddy. Same to everyone else. Okay. I was asking about the fan just because I hear a little noise in the background, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I hear it as well. So I was like...
It might be if you have your gain up too high. It's just picking up on the room tone. So if you can lower that a little bit, that would be great. Gotcha. Let's just see. I hear it. But then again, that's just me. I hear everything. I pay attention to that stuff. But anyway, guys, yeah. So tonight we got a lot to go over here. I kind of want to, again, I have a lot locked and loaded. I want to jump on in. We'll do a couple quick things real quick. Like for one, this was sent to me earlier. People were asking my thoughts on this one. What do I think about this particular holiday card coming out of Lucasfilm that gives us Willow, the Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, and Visions? This is our first look, really, post the Investor Day meeting from a year ago that had mentioned that this was going to be a reality. We still don't know what this is, but what this tells me is that it's in active development right now. So I don't know. What do you know? Do you know anything about Tales of the Jedi?
Um, a little bit. I just kind of like heard a little bit about it in like the chat and kind of Googled it a little bit more after someone said it was leaked by Lucasfilm, but not too much, not too much. Very vague.
Okay, so just quickly looking this up here on StarWars.fandom.com, it says here that Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, abbreviated as TOTJ, is a comic book series covering 8 story arcs published by Dark Horse. Set during the Old Republic era, 6 out of the 8 Tales of the Jedi story arcs take place during the time surrounding the events known collectively as the Great Sith War, a conflict instigated by Sith forces aimed at a galactic dominion. These 6 story arcs nominally focus on the Jedi Knight turned Sith Lord Ulic Droma, his love interest Nomi Sunrider, and a cast of supporting characters, including his own brother, Kay Quadroma. Likewise, appearing in Dark Lords of the Sith, the fallen Jedi Exar Kun went on to become a Dark Lord of the Sith and wage war against the Republic and the Jedi. The 2 remaining story arcs, the Golden Age of the Sith and the Fall of the Sith Empire, occur in the year 5000 BBY and revolve around the Sith Lord Naga Shadow and his schemes to invade Republic space through his manipulation of the Daragon siblings, Gav and Jory. So, okay, so that's kind of just an overview of it, right? Essentially, it's just a comic run by Dark Horse. We did learn yesterday that Dark Horse is, in fact, purchased by a French gaming company. I forget for how much, but that came out, and obviously that's got a lot of people talking about that because they're wondering what's going to be happening with everything, kind of like down the road with all this. But I don't know what this particular show is going to be. And I'm hoping for, like, if it's this storyline, that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds pretty interesting, and yeah, I'm just I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'll see it all. But yeah, definitely want to see what that's about.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, right? So it was announced in November of this year that Dark Horse would be producing a brand new line of all ages comic books and graphic novels, which is fascinating considering the fact that they would actually give or they would sell, Lucasfilm would sell the rights back or license out Star Wars to Dark Horse, considering that they're an arm of the Disney, conglomerate, and the other arm is Marvel Comics. And so why would you license out to somebody else when you have an entire publishing company at your disposal? I don't get that personally. But these old comics ran from 1993 to 1998. I will say though, what's fascinating about that is the whole notion that they take place 5000 BBY, because 4000 BBY is when Knights of the Old Republic takes place. Yeah. So with the remaster of Knights of the Old Republic coming out next year, at least I hope it comes out next year, I'm wondering if they are gearing up to start pimping the Old Republic as well as the High Republic as a way to really set a lot of stories during that time period. Because this is just me, and maybe you agree or disagree, I'm not too sure, but when I look at the idea of what Star Wars needs right now, it needs 2 things. It needs to have a storyline with no fucking Jedi, and then a storyline with all fucking Jedi. Because a lot of the aspects of Star Wars work well, I believe, when you remove the Force from the equation. I think you get a lot more intrigue with politics and spy stuff and war and but the Jedi itself, obviously everyone likes the Jedi. I do too. I'm not ragging on the Jedi, but what I mean is when you have the ability to tell the stories with a bunch of Jedi, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be like, Force powers and good versus evil. Whereas you get a lot more morally ambiguous stuff. I think gray area stuff with just like the non-Force users, kind of like Andor. I like because it's morally gray. It's very morally gray, and it definitely, is going to, I think, give a lot to the storytelling and kind of allow it to do a lot of different stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen with it personally, but I don't know. I mean, like this, we don't know what this is yet. That's kind of the other part of this too.
Yeah,
is we do not know what this is. We do not know anything about what they're going to do with it. Even according to StarWarsNews.net, they aren't really talking about what it is. So, we don't know. Now, the thing is, though, is that Star Wars Eclipse, the game coming out from Quantic Dream, that is either going to be really loved or really hated, depending on how you feel about David Cage. I mean, really, and I went over that like last week. There's a lot of shit involving that stuff, and a lot of people out there are trying to argue, certain things without there being a great deal of context for certain quotes. I just want to know the context before I think they're bad quotes, but I still want to know why they were said. I think, because it just feels so out of place. Like that all women in our games are whores makes no sense just to say in any context. Right? Like, why would you ever say that, like, in a court of law? You're on the stand. I can just imagine, like, David Cage angrily smoking a cigarette, because I'm sure they all smoke everywhere in France. He's all, I tell you, in that game, I'll be me on the horse. All horse. And you're like, what does that even mean? And it's like, what is that? Like, hold on, like, objection, Your Honor. Can I ask a follow-up question? Mr. Cage, the fuck?
What the hell was that?
What did you say? What did you say? Why did you say it?
Like,
all of those
things.
Did I
mishear you? Did you really just say that?
Yeah, hold on. Enosh, I posted a link. It's in the Hawa chat, dude. It's like literally the last thing I posted in the chat. So if you guys can, I'll post it again. Anyway, all right. I'll post it. Oh, that's you. But yeah, I don't know. I really want to see what's going to be happening with the Tales from the Jedi. Obviously, it's going to be animated, I believe. Tying in with everything else, and it's currently I believe it's in production, because that holiday card is showing you quite a bit of that line of it, at least, is showing you what's either come out or what's coming out, and I do think we are going to be getting a Vision season 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Vision season 1.
You haven't?
Clips? No, I just haven't gotten. It's been really busy this semester with all the different classes, but I've kind of like seen clips of it, and it does look intriguing, and that's on my to-do list to watch for shows and stuff like that. But but I did see the Eclipse trailer, and wow, it's either gonna be very good, like you said, or very bad. Like, I'm like, with Star Wars trailers such as that, they're kind of always like misleading, because with the Old Republic game, the cinematics are like amazing, but then the game is like completely different, but also still pretty good. But I have high hopes for this Eclipse game, and it's also in the High Republic era, so it's gonna be pretty cool.
That's what I'm excited for. I think for me personally, what I'm really excited for is everything just involving the Mando side of it, like where we find ourselves in this timeline. Leading into the sequel trilogy, because I think it gives us like an end perspective to go for. At the same time, what I'm really, I just want to see what they're going to do with it, because I've been really impressed so far with everything. We got Mad Max coming on. What's up, Max?
Hey, I got a little sidetracked, but I'm here now. Sorry,
That's okay.
What's up?
Hey,
That's all right, man. We're just talking about a little bit of Star Wars, getting ready to dive into some of the meat of the issue tonight.
Boba Fett?
Well, there is Boba Fett. We can talk about. Actually, I'll bring that up right now. I know Enosh is coming on in, so I can hold off on this until he gets here. There was a new minute-long little video that came out today, and I definitely wanted to check that out. Where there is, a little minute-long teaser, because again, they're giving us these little tastes, right? They're giving us these little tastes as we're a couple days away from the show. What was really funny was Mikey Sutton and I were talking today, and he's like, I'm still waiting to find out when I'm going to get those screeners for Boba Fett. And I talked because I was going to drive to his house to go watch him. Mm-hmm. Because he's only like 40 minutes away from me. I'm like, I will get in my car and I will drive, and I'll come to your house and we will watch Book of Boba Fett. And then I found out from Ty from Pop Culture Corner that that's not the case. That they're not actually giving out any press screeners for the Book of Boba Fett at all. And that makes sense, because the rumors are that you're going to have, there's going to be some rumor. The rumor is at this point that everything we've seen marketing wise is in the first 15 minutes of the show. And so I don't know what that means. There was like that plot leak from the other day, if you believe it. Yeah. Blame him for everything.
For leaks and stuff. Now no one wants to give anyone advance screenings.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, RJ's talking about the Miller thing. We'll get to the Miller thing here in a minute. And he says, "Good night for real. You're going to bed? What are you going to bed? It's freaking like it's like midnight, dude."
RJ, I deny it. See, even Max's dog is like not accepting it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Max's dog. Oops.
Jabba the.
All right, so this is the teaser. We'll check this one out here. Peace Walker says Han Solo. Is that? Yeah, maybe. I'd be okay with that. Let's see here. Donovan says taking the same approach from Mando season 1. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just giving us little bits of information as we get ready to dive into this entire thing. I think it's going to be great. So Donovan here. I'm the crime lord now. Man, that would be great. That would be great if they actually did that. So let's take a look at this.
Jabba the Hutt once sat upon that throne. You all accrued wealth and riches under Jabba. You can again. With this man, Boba Fett.
What prevents us all from killing you?
Why speak of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich? I am not a bounty hunter. I'm the crime lord now.
The Book of Boba Fett, streaming December 29th on Disney.
All right, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this show.
Yeah, Luke here makes your point. I love how the pit droids give him his armor. I know. That's going to be so cool. Because I love seeing the pit droids pop up in Mando when they go back to Mos Eisley, and they're just there hanging out. Like, I thought that was great. I love the subtle throwbacks, and even the not so subtle throwbacks. I love the subtle throwbacks though to the prequel trilogy, because I feel like if you give it love, like you kind of accept it for what it is, other people will accept it. And there's been a lot of people that have come around to it in the last 15 years, which then makes me ask the question: in 10 more years, or 9 more years, 11 more years, whatever, when we're 15 years past the Return of the Jedi, the Last Jedi, will we actually care more about it? You know what I mean? Like, and that's a solid question, because you honestly never really know what the hell's going to go on with all this. So obviously,
true.
We could at some point look back and just go, man, I was really wrong about the Last Jedi.
Pretty solid.
It was pretty solid storytelling.
Well, I like it better after watching Rise of Skywalker. Honestly, I have gone back on it.
I don't know about that.
I can easily. I'd rather watch Last Jedi than Rise of Skywalker.
I would rather watch the Rise of Skywalker than the Last Jedi. And then what you do is you watch Force Awakens, and then you immediately watch the Rise of Skywalker, and then that's it. That's it.
Don't watch any of the sequel trilogy.
Force Awakens is legitimately good.
Yeah,
the Force Awakens is legitimately good, I think.
Yeah, I was really hyped for that one when it came out. I saw it, and then the other two, I was just like, "Wow, this is like it was a change of pace here."
Yeah, I still want to know how the hell they went from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi, where it's like here's all of this setup, and then here's the galaxy's slowest car chase, and like nothing happens, like nothing that could, like, there wasn't a grand adventure. It was just like, we're running out of gas. That in space, like you have your whatever momentum you're traveling at is literally the momentum that you travel at, right? Because there's no gravity, so you don't slow down. Gravity doesn't stop you. You literally will like shoot at that same trajectory. They could have kicked the thrusters into overdrive, hit maximum speed, and then just coasted. Literally just coasted. But like, no, we're running out of fuel cells. Like, oh my God.
So now we're stuck.
And like all they have to do is just say, we're running out of like life support. They damaged our life support systems, and we need to get to some place where we have to go and get like repaired, or else we're all going to die. At least that makes better sense than we're running out of gas in space. You know, it just reminds me of that scene from the end of Spaceballs when they go to the truck stop. You know, they go to the intergalactic truck stop, and that's like, you know, it's like I feel like The Last Jedi is a parody of what like a Star Wars story could be, but it's a parody that takes itself too seriously. That's how I view that. You know, Enoch says here, "I'm coming in." Not the first time he said that. So there's that. But before Enoch gets here, there's one more thing here. I guess Boba Fett has now been added into Fortnite for maximum peak brand integration. Let's take a look at this trailer. Okay, I mean, let me just say, as a non-Fortnite player, the fact that the glider is the Slave One is actually pretty fucking cool. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dig that. And then just looking through here, you know, he lands. I mean, he's got the look. I mean, it looks like a solid Boba Fett. I like the, you know, he's got the little visor, so he's gonna launch the rocket there at least some point. And then what kind of gets me though is looking at who's in the background. Like, you know, there's someone in a wheelchair back there, or a little cart or whatever. and then it cuts to this shot right here. And then there's like there's that chick right there, and she's just dancing right here, right? She's just dancing. I'm like, what the fuck? I know that it's Fortnite. Yeah, I know that it's Fortnite. Yeah, but
I don't get it.
Let's see. Resident Justice here says, "I already bought Boba Fett in Fortnite. Let's go." Oh my god, they can see you coming, brother.
Did the same thing. You and Maho probably already bought it. As soon as you heard it drop, you two probably bought it.
Wait, but what does it cost though? Like, what does it cost?
I don't know.
That's my question. Because like, I don't even know what these skins cost. Like, I thought like they were free, but like, or you could grind them out. I don't know. I mean, I know they make a lot of money.
V-Bucks.
Yeah, V-Bucks. I don't even know. Moisture says, "Say what you will, but you can't deny Fortnite's success and popularity." No, you can't. You really can't. It's very popular and very successful. I just find it really odd that these companies that are generally don't want to mix their brands are all down to mix their brand in Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite's just literally like marketing at its finest. It has no identity. It's just like a bunch of random collages of different properties and IPs into one game. That's how I see it.
Oh yeah. All right. So okay. So he bought it for 2,300 V-Bucks
or $14.
Yeah, $14. Yeah,
$14 for a skin.
Oh
yeah, it's like $14 for a skin.
Wow.
That kind of currency breakdown is like, remember on the Xbox 360 when you had to buy like the Microsoft points?
You changed it up, but you still gotta do that.
No, they finally got rid of it to where it's just this is what it costs.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, it would be like 800 points or something like that would be like a $20 game or some shit or whatever. I don't even fucking know. Either way, it was definitely something. But man, I would never drop that kind of cash on the skin. You know, that's a lot. That's a lot of V-Bucks.
Yeah, Segi was like, because I had a default and I was playing with Segi and some other people, and she's like, "Why do you still have a default skin?" I'm like, I'm not spending money on Fortnite. So and somehow I had like 800 V-Bucks, and I just bought whatever skin was for 800, and I just plopped that on. I'm like, "Are you happy, Segi?" And she's like, Yeah, I'm happy now." Because they all got like tons of skins.
That's a lot of skins right there. Toronto Freddy here says, "I'd pay 14 for some skin." Well, you know, I was hearing today that they're having trouble getting longshoremen to come to work at some of these ports, and I'm like, why don't they just incentivize them by like legalizing prostitution? Just put a brothel next to the port. You will have dudes coming to work. Like, wait a minute, hold on. I can work, I can pay my bills, and I can pay for sex. That, my friends, is capitalism. Bradley here says, "Just get the battle pass. It's easier to get skins." I don't play Fortnite. I don't even know. Like, I don't, you know.
I tried. I downloaded it once, and I just went in, and people were kicking my ass, and I was just like, and then you have to build stuff. I'm good with action, but then you have to build things too. I'm like,
Then you have to build things.
I don't want to build things while I'm shooting people.
No, well, you know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of
There's
my whole
web
point with it,
shooters
right?
In there too.
Do you have to build things?
I
like,
don't
is it
know.
I
required?
don't
Weird.
ever build things. I'll say this. I build when I get shot up, I just like quickly just spam buttons to build. But other than that, I just hunt people down and just shoot them, and then they build. It's like a way. I building is so annoying in that game. It's like it's frustrating because everyone can just
I
build
want
like a giant.
just like a quake gun and just mow people down. I don't want to. That's the kind of
It's interesting.
multiplayer I like.
There's people who can
Yeah,
build
no,
a
I'm the same
damn
way. That's
skyscraper in like seconds.
That's why I like to, I don't get all that stuff. To me, it makes no sense. It's like Minecraft and Battle Royale. I understand the appeal, but I would just, this is why I like PUBG. PUBG is more realistic. You know,
a lot of, but they added bots and,
well, I mean, you don't have to play with bots. Like honest to God, like I found that playing on the Xbox is actually like a lot more, I've had a lot better success playing against non-PC players on console. Because console players are like for first person shooters or whatever, you know, it's a little stunted. It's not as precise as, let's say, you're playing on the other, but on PC. But I'm pretty good with playing in controllers, and so I
PUBG's
actually
a lot
like,
of fun.
I love PUBG. I will get like 12 kills in a game. I don't ever get that shit on like PC. I'm dead when I play on. Because I used to when PUBG was
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, I've never gotten it. I've never gotten the winner chicken. I've gotten up to number 2. And
my
and
goodness, man.
the guy was able to get the drop on me. I was so pissed off. But but I don't mind. I don't mind that.
Yeah, it's
when
not
I play
always
these games,
about the win. It's just experience and having
yeah.
fun.
Like I love to sit there and like when I play it, like I have headphones, like on my Xbox One X. When I bought that, it came with PUBG. And I would sit there and listen to it with my headphones on, and you could hear the sound design on that game is amazing. You could hear everything. And like you can hear a gunshot going off, and like you can pretty much tell which direction it came from if you're listening with headphones on. So you know what to listen for. You can hear footsteps. You can hear if they're crouching. You can hear if they're on grass or on dirt. It really is all about like the sensory, using it to, using your auditory senses to your advantage while playing this game. Versus like Fortnite, which is all like you're listening and it's just you hear like someone just like building a wooden shack for no other reason than to go and like post this. I don't know. I don't get it. Like I don't get it. It's like I never got into Minecraft either. That was never my jam.
Minecraft is a lot of fun. That's my childhood as well. But I honestly play Fortnite just to get the web slingers at Daily Bugle drop and just swing around and then just find people and troll them and just swing around them, not even get kills. But yeah, PUBG is really good with that, and it's like Rainbow Six Siege with the sound. The sound is amazing in both of those games, and it's very important. I haven't played PUBG in a while, but yeah, it's on Game Pass now, and it's a lot of fun. I probably have to.
Well, and it's going free to play next month.
Oh, really?
So they're making PUBG free to play. Wow. So a lot more people are going to jump on and shit. And that's great, and that's perfectly fine. I'm really excited for that. I want to see what's going to happen when more people jump on, because I've been playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm like 85 hours into that game, and I'm like, oh my god! Like I've already killed like the main bad guy and stuff. There's still more people to take out because there's a lot to do in that game now. They really expand. It feels largely the same. I'm playing it now on like the Ghost mode or whatever, where it's like there's no gear levels. Right, so I have weapons that I like. I've upgraded them. I experiment with other weapons that I like, but I end up, for the most part, just kind of doing, going through. I find it to be meditative because I can, pop in and play and go and clear out a couple locations and then, go about my day. But some of those side missions are interesting. And they take a couple hours, and you're like, all right, like, and you're going across the map trying to uncover something. One mission had me go into a mountain and literally disable a nuclear device.
Wow.
And it had been there for like since like the Cold War or some shit. So it was like, oh crap, so you have to take it out, and it was a cool little story. I liked it.
Yeah, I might when it goes cheaper, I'll probably check it out and buy it because I really love Wildlands. And
it's not as good as Wildlands, but it was like I think it's like $8 or some shit like that. It's really cheap. Real quick here, Rel McMillan for 5. Sorry, buddy, I missed this. Says, don't let RJ fool y'all. He's about to go rewatch his favorite Dickinson scenes. And we learned what those scenes were. Can
I only guess?
Yeah, she has a moment where someone is a hero to her.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Did you hear though? Speaking real quick of Ghost Recon, did you hear about the frontline thing that they're doing with that? Like they're doing a battle royale, Ghost Recon battle royale.
Yeah.
People were so mad about that. People were so pissed. I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, come on, dude! Like Ghost Recon is actually a fun franchise. Yeah. I think they reinvented it with Wildlands. Wildlands was the shit.
Oh, the multiplayer is really fun as well too.
It is pretty fun. Yeah, Ubisoft excels in third-person shooters, and like people tend to forget that, right? But they also excel in like they've gotten better at world building to make it more compelling to kind of go around. Whereas like so with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, like your side missions will oftentimes take you to multiple locations that you would probably clear out on your own. So it just allows you to kind of like go and give you a reason to go there and take all these dudes out, loot the place, get the gear you need, and then go on about your business, you know? So I kind of like that quite a bit. Let's see here. Oh, wait, is this really Mercury? Look who is live, the Snyder hater. Hey, man, if you want to come on in, I can school your ass. Just hit me up on Twitter. You unblocked me. Today. So if you want to come on, I got no problem, man.
I don't think that's him.
I don't think it's him either. Yeah. Mercury doesn't have the balls.
I would love it.
Dude, I don't even want to. No, I'm not even going to bring it up, but yes. Snyder dropped more photos and people were going crazy.
Oh no, that's actually a topic of conversation.
Oh man,
that's actually a topic.
And it could mean something, and it could not. It's like
oh, dude, I was making jokes to Gerald on Twitter.
Well, that's another thing too.
You like mocking Snyder fans, but it still could be something.
It's not that no, it's not, dude. It's not that I like mocking Snyder fans.
You like trolling.
It's not that I like it. It is no. It's not that it's not that I like trolling. I've been open about that. What I have said is that while I don't believe that they're gonna do it the way that everyone wants them to do it, what I have said is that people out there treat Zack Snyder like he's literally Jesus. And they freak out about everything, and everything he does. It doesn't matter what it is, he just like they just have to like overreact to it. And like, it's not even, it makes it like where it's like, okay, now you guys are just kind of losing your mind a little bit to it. But you know what? Fine. Tell you what, we'll start off by talking about this. All right. We'll start off talking about the post today that I was waiting for, by the way. I was absolutely waiting for someone to talk about this because I was what it was is as we were joking around last night. I think you, Jimbo, me and RJ were talking about this after the stream last night.
Yeah.
About like it's Christmas Eve. We're waiting for Snyder to drop something. We're waiting for Snyder to tease something DC related, and everyone to lose their shit. And so then he posts this Christmas Batmobile, which is an awesome shot, by the way. I think this is an amazing picture, and I don't know if this is a real photo or if this is, obviously the Northern Lights are probably added in, but I don't know. I don't know, but it's a cool photo nonetheless. And so I posted it in the DM group for Hollywood After Dark, and I just said like, okay, like here we go, it's going to be incoming, and and I was kind of like being playful about it a little bit, right? But no, lo and behold, guess what? comicbookresources.com runs an article about it because this is what gets clicks when you talk about Zack Snyder and when you talk about everything else that's gone on with this, so they put out an article here, and I haven't read it yet, so take a look. Zack Snyder celebrate.
Let me propose this to you.
Okay.
Matt. If it was going to happen, wouldn't he be doing this kind of stuff? It might not. Why? Oh, he's not going to keep the fans that got him in what the big benefit, all the free press that he generates with all this stuff.
But that free press that he generated,
he wouldn't keep this going.
I think he'll keep it going because he knows that's what his fans want.
But if it was going to continue in some form, wouldn't he still be doing this?
No.
Yes,
I mean, well, sorry. Let me rephrase because I heard the question wrong. If it wasn't going to continue, would he continue doing this? The answer to that is yes, he absolutely would. And the reason why is because you're right. He wants to invigorate the fan base. He likes to keep people engaged.
No, actually, I was saying if he was going to continue, don't you think he would be doing something similar to this?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He's going to end up doing something like this. He's never not going to drop teases on his Vero. His Vero became popular because of Snyder Cut teases. It's maintained that because of Snyder Cut teases. He's known for Snyder Cut teases, and that's what he's going to do. It may slow down a little bit when he starts shooting Rebel Moon. He did put a little bit up there for Army of the Dead, but really not that much, and not compared to the Snyder Cut stuff. So this at this point, my personal belief is that it doesn't have anything to do with continuing the Snyderverse. Is just about still being playful with the fans, because the fans, look, ultimately the fans do like the behind the scenes stuff. They really do. I like it too. I think that image is awesome. Like that's like, really I would love that, like, you know, framed it on my wall.
I think there's more with the turkey image than this. This is
I think it's just that. I think it's a turkey, Max. Yeah. I think it's a turkey.
It's not about the turkey.
It's well, it's not about the Batmobile in front. Well, we'll talk about the Northern Lights here. So, you know, like, again, they're saying here, it's definitely the DCEU's Batmobile, but the picture itself doesn't seem to be from any specific movie, which is not. It's just an image. And again, I don't even think this is I think this is Photoshop.
Obviously, yeah, it's really good done Photoshop.
And so look at this here, right? So this Liam Nolan guy writes this article. All right. This is literally the whole article right here, and then follows it up with an entire history of the fucking Justice League. But then says here, after leaving the DCEU, he signed a first look deal at Netflix and began releasing films in his Army of the Dead franchise on the service. Currently, there are 2 movies, Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves. And then there's Army of the Dead sequel called Planet of the Dead. It doesn't have a release date at this time. So obviously at this point, like, it's just, he's just teasing something to have a good time on Christmas Eve. I think that's really about it. But, you know, when we talk about some of the crazies, we get someone like this, Geralt of Snyderverse. Of Spider-Verse, because he's, by the way, Geralt of Spider-Verse has changed his tactic from simping for Zack Snyder 110%
for Andrew Garfield.
to push for Andrew Garfield. To push for Andrew Garfield to do all that. So, you know, there's all that. Now, Fourth Year's got your backs, Max. He says that stick with your convictions, just let the doubters talk. Yeah, man, sure.
I don't particularly think that this is a Easter egg for Green Lantern.
Yeah,
I just think I think it just looks like. I think he thinks my interpretation of it is just the Batmobile looks cool in front of the Northern Lights. Yeah, and it kind of looks like a Christmas tree in the back. And that's all it was, you know, because if you scroll down to Zach, he's like, he does Merry Christmas with the Christmas tree. It just looks like a Christmas tree in the back almost.
Yeah, it just is like a holiday photo with
but to go the opposite end and say he doesn't do this stuff on purpose, he knows what's in that he
knows how to troll, and he knows how to troll. That's what it is.
But you think it's just a troll? No,
I don't. I think he's being cheeky. I think he's being playful. Sure. This isn't like when I say troll, but when I say troll,
it doesn't mean anything either. The other stuff.
Dude, it could just be another post on there. Like I think people who read into it too much, they want to read into it too much.
He also picks the timing of during the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is what he chooses to pick when he has his other projects he could hint at too.
Degrassi says, in front of the Fortress of Solitude. But McLadden here makes a great point. It says G&G viewers believe anything Jeremy says. Same can be said applied to Zack Snyder and his hardcore Snyder fandom. And that's not entirely wrong.
Slow your roll, Mladen. He is not hating on anything. He is giving Easter eggs to his fans, and there's a there's like a precedent for this. So if he's still doing it now, and there's nothing that's going to happen, yeah, he could still be having fun with his fans, but there's a precedent for it. You're ignoring context if you just say, "Oh, he's never done this before." Oh, he's you don't know, and you're mocking and talking down to people that think there is something there when there is a precedent for it. He's done this before.
I think again,
he said
all I've said is
he said in interviews, I do things for multiple reasons. It's not just a photo. So could this just be a photo?
And he also said that
but
he would say no to a paying
doesn't
customer.
Right.
So we can do dueling Zack Snyder quotes, dude. We can go down this pathway again, which I don't want to. Look, it's a cool picture of the Batmobile, but it's basically what I said was people were going to jump to those conclusions. Apparently, this might be Geralt here. I don't know. Again, if you want to come on in and explain your side, DM me on Twitter. Let me know that it's you. I will send you a link. You and Mercury can come on in, and we can have a conversation about this. As I say every time, you guys apparently come on in here, but you never DM me.
But I will not stand by from Aladdin's comparison to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers with his hate mongering when it's all for the beauty of creation and creator and artistic vision and sharing things with his fans. That's too far of a stretch, and I won't allow it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say he's like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers because he calls for his fans to do Us United. And when he is on a stream, he says, these horrible events that happened to Asian people at that massage parlor, and we need to stop hate. And then people are so indoctrinated in this online bullshit that they can't realize that a normal person, when they realize something happen, that's not a virtue signal to say stop hate. No, he asked for his fans to come Us United. It's not the same thing.
Mladenir says, you don't need to be a hater to manipulate your fans. I'm not ignoring anything, Max. Wake the fuck up. And that is, look, man, and the thing is, I agree with Mladen here, and I've expressed my opinion on this, which is effectively, or essentially, that I think a lot of people read into everything too much. And I think a lot of people out there, because, dude, again, he
starts manipulating his fans just to manipulate and not for going forward. Okay, we haven't reached that point yet. Everything he's done so far has been, positive intent. Yes, he's worked with the fans. He has fun with it, and it's led to certain things. And if you ignore context to create this bullshit narrative that everyone's crazy, and you ignore everything in the past, it could be nothing, it could be something. And he says he does things for multiple reasons. He does them at the timing. Now, this particular photo, I'm not reading too much into this one. The one where he actually puts Final Crisis into... Oh, yeah,
you read into that turkey thing hard, dude.
Well, it's not about you're keep going to the turkey. Yeah, okay, call me a turkey too, whatever. It's about...
It's a burnt turkey.
The Final Crisis...
It's a little on the dark side.
Yes, and two volumes of potential scripts that are unfilmed on there. And that just happened to be in the photo. Okay, if you want to believe that, good. Whatever. I'm not calling you crazy for not believing it, but don't call other people crazy because the man is smart enough to know what he's doing.
Yes, exactly. I know that he's smart enough to know that he's doing. Yeah. I've never not said
and he's
that.
He's not just using the fans just to use them for no purpose at all. I don't know that yet.
Well, that's again the whole point of what I've talked about with this is, and the point of contention you and I have on this issue has everything to do with the fact that it's just like, look, he teases his fan, but he gives a good businessman gives this customers what they want. What does Zack Snyder's customers want? More DC stuff. Yeah. Right? They want more DC stuff. That's it. All right. That's what they want.
Honestly,
that's literally it.
And honestly, in my opinion, if he was only moving forward and he wanted everyone to move on, and he would be posting little tidbits about his other projects on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
But he's not doing that. But he's not doing that. He's not really doing that. They're going to start shooting Rebel Moon here in a couple months. You figure he would give people more info on that because that's what's coming.
Right.
So it's
if it was only Netflix and there was no other reason, then I would assume that he'd only be hinting on projects he's going to do.
Hold on here. Peace Walker, I gotta say this. Peace Walker says Clay Straub teased Green Lantern too. Dude, I am so tired of people taking that guy's tweets as anything other than just him being a fan. Like, he watches the Snyder Cut and then people go, oh no, that's proof it's happening. Clay Straub was talking about it, guys. That's proof it's happening. It's like, no, he's talking about what he watched the movie again and he was talking about it. Here he's doing fan art about it because he's a photographer and he's a storyteller. So he's doing fan art about it. And then, people are like, oh, no, but he's been talking about it again. That means it's going to happen. Like, no, the guy's passionate. He wants to see it continue. But like, he's just doing fan stuff and people are running with that. This is a similar way, like Geralt is running with this. That's what I'm talking about, dude. It's like literally,
you're acting like other fandoms haven't grasped it way less.
And I don't like that either. I don't like that either, man. It's fun to speculate. Don't get me wrong, but there comes a time
we deserve our speculation too, just like any other fandom. And if not, thank you, Zach. I'll be in touch with you. Come on, MMA. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime, Zach.
No, okay. Look, this I hate that.
Is that Jesus in the chat? Is that
maybe? Let's see. Peter says he knows more than you do, though. Okay, and I'm going off of what's publicly made available. He's not like if you look at the context of what he's saying.
Only going on official statements and what's in the public is moronic too, based on the context of events.
No, like we know that, like we know that.
I mean, there's a middle ground. There's a middle ground because this is the problem with the internet too, and you're feeding into this. It's either you're completely listening to everything officially released, or you're doomcock. There's no middle ground. There is an area in the middle. There's an area in the middle where things happen, and just because it's not officially released. Only things happen that are officially released. You have no idea what's going on now. It hasn't even been a goddamn year since the movie released.
Oh, I know. And
if they do
everyone's
something, it has to be. They have to alter the path that they were on and combine two paths together. And that's not going to be an announcement that you're going to come overnight.
What did I?
It might be an announcement that they want to say officially anyway. Because look at the trending thing to do with No Way Home of keeping fans in suspense. Will they, won't they type thing. That generates big box office. The thing that generates big box office the most right now, getting back to the $1 billion club, is actually having spoilers and surprises and Easter eggs. So even if they do go forward, they may not even announce it until the Flash. They might do something in the Flash that hints at something. You don't know.
Well, we'll talk about the Flash plot leaks here in a second. But because that's gonna, and I'm telling you, I really feel that, if the way that the company's trajectory is heading, they are definitely going to be retconning some stuff, and that just makes the most amount of sense. Marvel has retconned certain things as well, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for certain things to be retconned. But again, look, all I'm saying when it comes to the Snyder stuff is this: wait for an official announcement. Zach has also said, that he doesn't want to say no to a paying customer.
An official announcement, you wouldn't have got the Snyder Cut.
Here's the thing with that. No. If HBO Max wasn't a thing, you never would have gotten the Snyder Cut released. All right,
that's also true. But if you waited, you're actually going ass backwards to back before, when you have to only listen to official announcements where every single person said the Snyder Cut didn't exist. You want us to go back to that. After what we've seen happen.
No, because again, you are taking this so utterly personally.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. An argument. Yes, you are. No, because you have dude.
No, why would you?
I have said repeatedly, if you
press releases,
there was no official press releases saying it never was going to happen. There was never an official press release. There were pundits in the media that said shit. And this is my biggest fucking problem with people when it comes to this conversation, is you for some reason think blue check marks on Twitter who have idiotic, dumb, moronic, uninformed opinions are always going to be the ones that are speaking officially. They're not. You take it with a grain of salt. You take what I say with a grain of salt. That's how this stuff works out. You can't sit there and say official press releases. Nothing was official until May 20th, 2020. Nothing was official until that live stream. Not a damn thing, because that was when they announced it. So that is when it was official. So that's what I'm talking about here. Is you want to,
they try to bury this cut of the film, and now you want us to go back and listen to everything they say.
No, again, you don't.
Failed executives that are going into
No, it's not failed executives. This is actual economics of Hollywood. Economics of Hollywood. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm bringing it up. Have I said repeatedly? I said this on your stream earlier tonight, that they should have. Warner Brothers failed miserably by not putting Snyder Cut in theaters for a week in select locations to earn a little bit of money, but to give it a theatrical run in order in order to then put it in for your consideration categories for the Oscars. Because they should have run it. They should have run it for a number of different categories. Like I said, best visual effects, best original score, best adapted screenplay, best director, and I would argue best film. If fucking Spider-Man No Way Home is up for that, which is something we're going to talk about too, because Sony has made it official. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about here, is that they should have done a lot more with it. They've done nothing with it. This is nothing to do. And if you think Zaslav is going to come on in and magically wave his hands and fix shit, it ain't going to happen. What he's
going to do,
Max, listen to me when
I didn't say
listen to me on this one. Listen to me on this one. Zaslav is a businessman for a reality TV based company. Everything he does is to have the cheapest budget for the most maximum amount of impact. They're going to look at the impact value of all the IPs Warner Brothers owns, and they're going to look at to see what they can spend the least amount of money on to maximize the amount of cash. We're going to see shows.
In your opinion.
Oh my God, with this opinion shit.
Netflix, Disney Plus, they're spending lots of money to make new content, and they have to be competitive, or there's no reason to even try. Listen, they have to do something drastic with HBO Max.
They have all they have to do
is assume that they are going to immediately cost cut everything, and they're not going to pump money into anything. That's your opinion.
I'm not saying they're not going to pump money into anything. What I'm saying here is that they're going to pump money into what is going to be.
You're assuming that he's just going to cost cut, and he's not going to pump money into.
He is going to cost cut. He is going to cost cut. Yes.
This is the streaming wars. This is the streaming.
Oh my God, Max. Let me explain.
Between Disney, Netflix, and all these other companies, they're spending big bank.
Yeah. On content. What did Netflix spend on Squid Game? $21 million. Its impact value nearly $1 billion.
Okay.
So they spent. So think of it like this: they spent like they spent $200 million for Red Notice, which again had a very large impact. It really depends on how they want to play it. But unless they have large star talent assigned to this stuff, stop. Look at what other IPs Warner Brothers has.
Yeah,
that's where they're going to start. The CW shows, as we've talked about, pulled in very little in regards to actual viewership numbers. What you're thinking of is a much smaller world than you have created in your brain. The DC fan base out there is not as big as you want it to be. It should be,
I didn't say
but it's not
going to be DC. I said you don't know that they're not going to pump money into new projects. They need to compete with Disney and Netflix. If you keep going and not doing anything and not having content, you're always going to be behind. They need to catch up with Netflix and Disney Plus.
And they need to do that by and they'll mine their other IPs.
Their wheels.
They'll mine Game of Thrones had like 19 other shows in development at one point in time.
You don't know that they're also going to mine DC too. I'm saying, I didn't say that's the only thing they're going to do. You just don't know that they're not going to spend money and pump this up to compete.
Look at what. Okay. Let's again. Let's look at this realistically. The budget for something like Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 would be somewhere around $200 million. Easily. We're talking salaries. We're talking contracts. We're talking cost of visual effects. All that stuff. They shot it on the volume.
Dude, $70 million was just for the visual effects
Disney
of Snyder
Plus
Cut.
Are pumping into their series for limited series of these shows.
That's Amazon. Amazon has literally
Disney Plus and Netflix.
Dude, all those companies make more money than Warner Brothers. They all make more money than Warner Brothers.
To compete with them. They're going to have to spend money.
And guess what? You know what they're going to do? They're going to do shit like fucking stupid ass reality TV shows because it's cheap and that's what Zaslav knows how to market. That's what he knows how to market. You're going to get a show on there that's going to be like Batman detective stories.
If you're accurate with your opinion and speculation, and they just do a bunch of reality, then HBO Max is doomed. They need to use
they will IP mine to the best. They will IP mine Harry Potter. They will IP mine.
So this is your opinion on the merger with Zaslav.
Yeah, everyone,
everyone, and they do a bunch of reality.
Yeah, and I'll give you two prime examples of things happening before then.
I hope you're wrong.
Before then, that could potentially change things. Because again, I'm open to being wrong, but I'm presenting my take from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Batgirl and Blue Beetle are roughly going to have about $100 million budget each. They were slated for HBO Max. Now Blue Beetle is going theatrical, and the likelihood of Batgirl is also going to be going theatrical. Because if you're they're probably going to wait to see how The Flash does with Michael Keaton back. Is it going to have the success that, let's say, No Way Home had? We don't know yet. It hasn't come out yet. It all depends if the story is any good. What I'm talking about, though, is those movies are what you would call a mid-budget film, because that's where we are now with mid-budget is $100 million. And so those movies are going to have to then have a high impact value for not only theatrical returns, but also HBO Max. And if they don't have that, then they're going to sit there and they're not going to pump money into larger scale. They might decide that they want to put that money into smaller individual films that will then be able to build up towards something. Because if anything, they're going to copy the fucking Marvel method, which is creating a universe of shows around one property and then building into something. Oh, right. They're kind of doing that with the Batman and GPD. Right. But the other side of it, the other side of the DCEU is all building towards retconning themselves and moving into a new direction, because that is what they're going to do with the multiverse. But the multiverse is ridiculous in essence. And I say this even in regards to Marvel, even though I think they're going to be able to pull it off in the end, because it doesn't matter if you have a multiverse. You still have to have a linear storytelling element that fans are going to be able to follow. If it becomes too confusing, you lose the audience. And that is what I think Warner's is going to screw up on. It's like, oh, Arrowverse, Doom Patrol, Titans, Harley Quinn, 66 Batman, fucking Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Bale, Affleck, Pattinson, all part of the same. It's all connected. It's all canon. That is ridiculous, and it doesn't sell because it becomes too convoluted. And that is the biggest issue here. So they're not going to, they're going to look at everything. How do we get to the fastest end? How do we shortcut this shit without costing us an arm and a fucking leg? And that is what's going to be happening with this shit. That's what's going to be happening here, because they're going to look at this from the most cost-effective perspective that they can, because they've got other IPs that are going to cost a lot more money, like Game of Thrones and Harry Potter and The Matrix and Blade Runner. Just look at all the IPs Warner Brothers owns and realize that their initial HBO Max push was to create big budget tentpoles in theaters and then create smaller television shows to run alongside them in order to expand the brand. You know what I mean? Like, and they've done nothing of that with DC, really, until for TV shows, until they put the Batman and GPD together. Other than that, like, everything else is all just kind of not even connected, really. It's just it's all under the banner, but it's not directly connected. One won't impact the other. Whereas Marvel, it impacts everything, as we've now seen. That's what I'm talking about, is like they got to get their shit in order to be able to make it work. And this is not, just to kind of finish up the segment because we've been on it for a while, Zach teasing an image of the Batmobile is cool, but likelihood of everything going down like that is not very high at this point. Could change, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens. It'll be cool, but I don't know. I mean, just this post and this tweet, I was just like, oh man, why? I knew that this Gerald was gonna post something like this. I was just waiting for it, and my quote tweet was literally like, oh, so I see snow in the picture, so is Batman fighting Mr. Freeze? That's basically kind of like the joke I made about it, but like, it's just, the image is really cool, but I don't know. I don't see how it resembles like Green Lantern. I don't.
Well, it's the green, it's the on the green, and everything else. Now listen, Frost Family Takeover here says, watch Zaslav knock it out of the park and get ready to eat Crowjar. But here's the thing.
I've been quiet because I wanted you to. I don't want to interrupt you anymore. But I just think Zaslav cutting costs and doing a bunch of reality show stuff, and then not keeping the DC properties in line with Matrix and the other ones you were saying. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is probably a higher property, or used to be, but DC on the platform, I think, is up there, and I think it's above Matrix because unfortunately the Matrix is not doing.
Well, no,
so
the
hard.
Matrix also came out at the very worst possible time.
Yeah, but it was also that didn't reinvigorate like they wanted to.
Well,
honestly.
no, I was going to watch it today, but my kids had other plans. They decided to not sleep.
I think that's. I'm sorry. I love your friendship, but I value your opinion. But that to think that it could compete with the streaming companies, HBO Max against Netflix, and just cost cut and just put reality stuff there.
No, it's not just reality, but there's going to be a lot of it.
Okay.
Because the thing is, like, Discovery is also, like, I think it's not the History Channel, it's like TLC, IDTV, all of that informational murder porn.
I'll come on the show and admit I was wrong if that happens. Well,
I'm just saying, look, we know it's going to take a while to get there. But listen here, Benjamin Brown says Zazav's first words are, "We have the greatest IP in the world: Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman." He did say that, and I haven't really heard him mention anything else like that since then. He's talked a lot of other stuff that he wants to get in. He wants to do the film funnel stuff, and he's gonna probably look at the people in charge right now and see how they're bringing stuff to the table. So if that's gonna be, I think, what we're gonna see on that one. But Shining here says happy, have fun, happy stream. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right. There's a couple super chats here to get to. I'll get to these real quick, and then we can get on to the Flash topic because that's going to be another fun one. Anyway, here. Okay, so RPK says, at this point, I can't tell the difference with MAGA people and Snyder fans. Oof. They believe anything their leader says and go into QAnon type theories.
Oh man,
that's okay. That's cold blooded, dude.
Yeah, that.
There are people that I believe are full on Q-Borg, and I think a couple of them are in the chat. But no, I think a lot of people are just passionate and they lead with their passion. That's kind of what I feel. I feel they're passionate and they just lead with their passion. So that's there's that. Thank you. Command unit here for 15 shekels. Says 40 pill of the day, Battlefleet. All right. We'll take a look at that one, buddy. Thank you. I'll do that towards the end of the stream. What's it called here? The Space Armada Marines, or Gothic Armada Space Marines trailer. Okay, thank you. Rail here says, let's stop talking about TASM 3 until an official announcement. Let Andrew go. No Way Home was a send-off. Yes, I really want TASM 3, I'll be fair. Yeah. I do. I think I really do. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I like it quite a bit. Simon here for $5, man. Thank you, man. Says, Merry Holidays, my geek bros. Just saw Matrix 4. Got to see it 2 more times for context plus sobriety. That's what I hear. You got to watch it more than once, and probably sober would be the right way to go. I don't know. A lot of people
that head out because it's. I enjoyed the debate, but it's getting later for me.
Yeah, no, I know it's late, buddy. I get you, man. I appreciate you coming on in. I know we fight over this. Let's hope. I'm hoping we can put it behind.
Well, I'm not. I don't take it personally. You think I'm full of it? Some of these takes, I think you are. It's honest. That's all it is, really.
Yeah. Well, you know, we bicker because we're friends, so that's all good. So thank you for coming on in, Max, and definitely go get some rest and have a good Christmas, man.
All right, you too, man.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Max.
Jimbo. Bye.
Yep.
All right, I know Enosh said he was going to come in. I don't know when that's going to happen. I think for like the George Miller part, he wants to come on in, so that's fine. But all right, and then we've got Agent Josh 0007. Thank you. Says, I still don't understand any of this. It's a long conversation. We're talking years of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Then RPK here with another $5. Thank you, buddy. Says, to be fair, Jarbo, the Batman has a reported $100 million budget and looks great. So Batgirl and Blue Beetle can look just as good. That is true. It also depends on who's directing it. And Matt Reeves is a director, is a far more experienced director than the guys who did Bad Boys 3. Not knocking them, no shade. Want to see it. Really want to see it. But again, it's kind of like, I'm curious how it's going to play out, you know, so we'll have to wait and see. Fourth 1000 here says, watch Zaslav be the unexpected next Kevin Feige. Hey, listen, if that's the case, hell yeah, dude.
Good for them.
If that's the case, man, like absolutely hell yeah. I'd be totally okay with that, right?
Yeah.
If
That's
that
what
was
they
the
need.
case. Oh yeah, dude, 100%. I'd be 100% on board with that. It'd be a lot of fun. I think that'd be that'd be pretty cool to see as we're going through all this. Shiny 311 with $20.69, buddy. Thank you so much, Shiny. It says, Merry Xmas, guys. Sing Song of the South. Just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't want to get canceled. I mean, is it wrong to sing like Zippity Doo Dah, right? I like that song though, but it's like I didn't know what his context was as a kid.
Yeah, same.
You know, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that one. It was like da da da, you know, like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then all of a sudden, it's all like you get older and you're all like, oh.
Yeah. As a kid, it's like as a kid, you just like know like the I can't remember the English term of it, but it's like you just know like the surface level stuff. But then when you get older, you know like the under level stuff, like the connotation of it. And you're just like, oh, but, oh no.
oh yeah, no, I've been there, man. I've been there. I'm just like, shit. You know what's really funny is, speaking of Song of the South, you can actually find it right now on eBay. There are, I guess it was released on home video at some point, like on DVD or something like that overseas. And a DL says it, zippity doo dah, zippity day. Those are your words. Your words. Yeah, no, it's you can find it on Facebook Marketplace, I think for like $50 or some shit. I have a copy of it. I have a digital copy of it that I got my hands on. And maybe one night we should do a watch party for it to see how bad it is. It's pretty bad. Like, I mean, just in regards to like I watched like the ending of it and it was just like some of the stupidest shit, you know? But the movie was popular. It was very popular. For a while, and then, you know, obviously there's a whole situation with, you know, like the studio putting Splash Mountain together, you know, because the 80s were a wild time. Yeah. Michael Eisner's like, you know what everyone's gonna love? Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox. let's we're gonna But I'll say this though, man. Listen, I fucking love Splash Mountain. All right, like I fucking love Splash Mountain. So, but I am curious to see what's going to happen with the Tiana, Princess of the Frog renovation, because I also really love Princess and the Frog. So it's one of my favorite Disney animated movies. So I'm excited. I'll tell you. You know what I saw today? I saw Encanto like fucking 3 times.
Oh yeah, I saw your tweet about it.
Oh, it got better. It got better the second time. I hate the music. And well, really what it is I hate the audio mix. The audio mix, like the words, the vocals of the actors run over each other like a stage play, like a musical. And I've never liked that in musicals when like when they sing and it goes over each other, because you're trying to follow, you know, you're just trying to follow it and it gets to be a little bit confusing and it gets to be loud. That's what they did there. And like every song has got like 2 people singing really. You know, especially when she's like talking to her sisters and the sisters are explaining their problems. And like, it's cool. Like I get it, but it's also just, it's so convoluted and the story doesn't really go anywhere. I don't really feel like, I felt like the story is, you know, it's about like self-acceptance and accepting your family for who they are and blah, blah, blah. It's a good wholesome message, but it was over. And I'm all like, okay, I kind of tuned out the first time and then we watched it again tonight over dinner and I'm like, oh, okay. And, you know, it's got a sad enough story to it, but I don't know. You can see why Disney put it on today, you know, because it's been a year since Soul came on there, and they dropped Encanto in theaters a month ago, and then now it's on Disney Plus, and it's like I don't even know what Encanto did, box office wise, you know. But they're all like, "Oh, it's out there now," and it's like, "All right, cool." And then I'm like, "Can we just go back to watching Ron's Gone Wrong? Can we just watch that movie again? Because that's a good movie." If for you know, it's on HBO Max and Disney Plus because it's a 20th century film, so like they split the streaming. But Ron's Gone Wrong is actually a really solid movie with a good message. The biggest problem with that film is the name is crap. Like the name is terrible. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
So oh my god. Penn Affleck says here, this Max guy is gonna make me binge drink. Oh fuck. Oh my god. That's so mean, dude.
That's
so mean. Oh my god. Let's see. Jeff here says, what's the point of an argument if only one party doesn't siren to the other before answering? Max is hearing Matt, but he isn't listening to him. Yeah, well, it is what it is. We like to fight though. It's all good. Rational Skeptic here says, Matt, remember the Deathstroke tweet from Ben Affleck? Imagine if he posted that today. Oh man, if he posted that today, that would give me. I would honestly, if Ben Affleck said something, I would probably be a little bit more inclined to get it right. I would honestly be a little bit more inclined.
Yeah.
To believe it, and I say that not because I don't trust Zack Snyder, but I also know what kind of person Zack is on this kind of subject and what he does, and as a result of that, I really feel like that's kind of the issue here with him, is just that he obviously wants his fans to be engaged and he wants to give them DC content, but it's like, I think, he's also kind of backed himself into a corner because, he still wants to be there, but he can't really come out and say that it's over. It's not going to work well for him, because would they believe it? That's the question, right? I see, like, I don't know if Mercury and Geralt are still in the chat. Again, you guys more than welcome to come on and discuss this with me. But if you guys, like, what would happen if he came out and said it's over? Right? Would you believe him? That's an honest question. I think a lot of people out there need to ask themselves that question. But of course, we've been on this topic for so long. I want to go on to talk about the Flash, because this is what's going on with the Flash today. There's apparently a leak. Apparently a whole leak. So I don't know, spoilers, I guess. I don't even believe this, but I thought it was interesting because it was floating around on Twitter. So this is apparently the plot of 2022's The Flash movie. Hold on to your butts. All right. This is a wild ride. So this is what it says. Translated from Google, although it says here that it's from January 11th, 2021, almost a whole year ago. So I don't know. Apparently, the Flash warns Diana about Steve Trevor's death. Diana manages to save him, but is seriously injured in attempting to save his life. Takes him to Paradise Island. Trevor falls into a coma, hoping that one day he will wake up. The passing of time does not affect him in Themyscira, which would make sense. The events of Wonder Woman 84 never occur. We're not that lucky for that to happen, to be fair. The Flash then warns Man of Steel about the Battle of Metropolis and the millions of death it causes. Kal-El manages that the epicenter of the battle is far away, or I should say manages that the epicenter of the battle is far away from the city. Zod is not murdered and is locked in the Phantom Zone along with Faora. Neither Bruce Wayne nor Lex Luthor see Superman as a threat. There is no corpse of Zod to create Doomsday, i.e. the events of Batman v Superman never occur. Superman does not die fighting Doomsday, as there is no Doomsday.
So will that also mean that Zack Snyder's Justice League, or simply Justice League, won't happen because Lex Luthor doesn't call? So I mean, it basically does kind of provides as a retcon.
Well, look at the ending of Days of Future Past. Right? Days of Future Past, I mean, kind of like retconned everything because Jean Grey was alive. So that means that the events of the Wolverine never happened, really. The events of X-Men 3, The Last Stand, never happened. And, like Logan potentially never happened. Because Logan was meant to continue off of the Wolverine, not necessarily off of X-Men Days of Future Past. So they've done this before. They did this almost 8 years ago, and no one lost their shit back then. Everyone accepted it. It was a question at the time, but nobody questioned it. And then we got X-Men Apocalypse, which, took place after the events. It was meant of Days of Future Past, meaning it was meant to be more of the first class timeline. But now we're kind of running multiple timelines that no one seemed to really have any issue with. So sure, there was some complaints, but again, people out there just kind of went with it. But then again, like I said, Apocalypse was shit. So, there's that. But anyway, here it goes on. It says, as the Kryptonian did not pass away, Amanda Waller did not create the secret program Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad, and their mother boxes are never awakened, and the Justice League never formed to stop Steppenwolf. And that's to give you an idea of what a soft reboot means and what Flash is going to apply to the DCEU, apart from introducing the DC multiverse. So get ready. Now, listen, don't know how true this is. Absolutely take with a fucking grain of salt. It's one of those things where it is just weird. I could probably see them doing this though. Fandom NSLs here says so. This is basically a shitty Days of Future Past. Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, look, the whole point with a leak like this, or with a storyline like this, is that what it does is it puts everyone in a brighter future. Is effectively it, right? Because remember, the tone of Man of Steel and BVS and Justice League and Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 2017 and everything else is generally a darker, more somber tone. That's what has been established. Wonder Woman 84 took it to like the next fucking level and made it and made it the what do you want to call it? Was more bright, hopeful movie and whatever. Love. Yeah, everybody saves the day, not wishes. Yeah. Love. Yeah. And then graping a guy when he's not coming. I'm still gonna hold up on that. But no, it's kind of like, but that's what I'm talking about though, is when you look at the concept of this leak and then, you realize that Michael Shannon and the actress who plays Feora are both in The Flash. There's a reason for that. It's not just to go back. There'd be no reason to go backward unless it was to fix something. And I'll give you guys a prime example of this. Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 2 is oftentimes, Carl Sagan, right? Mr. Scientist, I think he's an astronomer, right? Or, noted famed scientist, Carl Sagan, listed Back to the Future 2 as his favorite time travel movie because it was accurate in regards to how it handled timelines. So them going back to 1955 in order to get the almanac away from Biff to therefore not make that alternate 1985 is going to have to, kind of apply here. So and I said this a long time ago when I was when I was thinking about, there was a rumor that the Flash was going to pop up in Wonder Woman 84. And I thought maybe the Flash would go back and save Steve Trevor because we knew that Chris Pine was going to be in it. And then, so I'm wondering if that's still going to be the case. The Flash goes back because of Iris and everything else, his love for everything. And he wants to just fix things, And so he just goes and he fixes all this stuff. Like, what if he goes back and he fixes that Martha and Jonathan Kent were never shot and killed in that alley? And then it comes forward and he sees Bruce Wayne and Bruce Wayne is happy with kids. Because that's kind of the whole point here. What he's going to do with this movie, and I've said this, is going to make everybody feel like happy. It's going to end on a high note. It's going to it's going to soft reboot it to be the hopeful DC movie franchise that people have been begging for.
I don't think they'll go to the extent and stop Batman's parents' deaths, but I do think that they would do. But like with this leak that you're just showing, it would have to require one. You would have to have Gal Gadot in the movie and also potentially Henry Cavill in the movie, because if he's gonna go back and tell Superman about this stuff, he's supposed to change
Well, did you hear that Gal is supposedly popping up in Shazam 2? I mean, that could tie into something.
I mean, I'm wondering so we saw it was January 21st, 2021. So obviously that's a year ago. Like, if this is, which obviously this is just a grain of salt, taking it with it. But they do mention that they're bringing back Zod and Fiora, which if this is the same time, I mean, it's confirmed now that they're both in the movie. Which, so it's like it's kind of like this could be a good chance of it happening, but there's a lot more stuff that they'd have to include into this movie for this plot to continue out and actually be what we're gonna be seeing. So it's could happen, could not happen, but I don't know. I
don't know what they're gonna what if anything they're gonna do with this. I don't think it's really gonna be much. I don't really believe that they're gonna go this far with it.
There's not only do you have to get the actors and actresses, but it's you're pretty much changing a lot, a very extensive amount of content that's already been established, and it's wow. I just don't know. I just don't see it being probable in this Flash movie.
Well, I mean, that would be nice if that was the case. If they were to give us something that's going to kind of like, I want something that's going to move the franchise forward.
Yes.
And the thing is, though, it's like without Snyder, not to just kind of go back on that again, but without Snyder, I don't see it really moving for anything. Darkseid was set up, and that was if that was the reason why the New Gods was canceled, then it's like you have a villain to build towards. You have a good villain to build towards, a menacing villain to build towards. Cool. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they're going to definitely undo the events of Justice League. Okay. I think that is going to happen because that movie's an unmitigated disaster, and that is considered the canon of which Warner Brothers wants to move off of. They've already said this, that they view Justice League 2017 as the canon. So that's why they called the Snyder Cut the cul-de-sac. And I know I saw the Watcher say here that Andy Muschietti loved the Snyder Cut. That doesn't mean shit, dude. Because guess what? He's not the powers that be. He can sit there and go, all right, I'm going to direct this movie. But if the powers that be say, nope, then you're not going to do it.
Well, I mean, there are some things in this movie that I think that I'm really curious if they're going to take from Snyder. Because Iris West wasn't established in anything other than the Snyder Cut. So I wonder if they're going to like create a whole new storyline and how they met, or they're going to go with what Zack did in his movie. That's another interesting.
But you also have to look at this too from the contract perspective. Kiersey Clemons could have left at any time. She's actually talked about this the other day in an interview. She stuck with it, even though the movie went through multiple directors, because she just wanted to see where it went. I'm probably paraphrasing that. But she could have exited the project at multiple times. She chose to stick with it, to honor her contract. She didn't know that the Snyder Cut was coming out. She just wanted a job. If you want my honest opinion, I think she just wanted a job.
Probably.
And it was like, all right, well, at least this is something. It's like, we'll wait to see what happens. In the meantime, she's probably already been paid some kind of money, or she might get paid some kind of money. It works out for her either way. So, in her, she stuck with it because that's that. And then now she's in the movie and she's going to be Iris West, and good for her. So it's not like it's going to be like Zack set this up and they're doing this because of that. It's because contractually they had already signed an actress, and contractually they had to stick with her. So they did, and she chose to stick around, and obviously it had worked out, and there you go. But again, I just don't feel like this movie, if it doesn't move the needle forward in a compelling enough way, then as always, it's just the DCEU spinning its wheels for no other reason other than just, I think, incompetency. Hold on here. I do want to see this one. According to Fourth here, it says, no, Matt, that would split the fandom again. Get ready for Justice League 2.0, Flashpoint Batman, happy with kids and only geriatric Batman. No. Yes. I know you don't want it, but do you really look at what Warner Brothers has done recently and ask yourself if this seems really that far out of the realm of possibility? It's an honest question, because all things considered, the way that these guys operate is they're going to they want Michael Keaton back. Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman anymore. He doesn't want to do IP driven films. So he's not going to do them. He even said after the last Duel flopped, he probably doesn't think that he'll be in a movie that's going to be released theatrically again, even though he's in The Flash and that will be theatrical, but starring in a movie that will be theatrical again. He's ready to go do other things. His passion isn't there. So if he comes on in, he's coming on in to give himself an exit, to give himself a conclusion to the character. And I think that's appropriate, and that's fine. And if they find a way to make him have a happy ending, then that Bruce Wayne is a happy ending. And then now we got old 70-year-old Bruce Wayne, who's maybe a little bit cynical, maybe a little bit dark, maybe a little bit pissed off, and he's going to take on a mentee. And that, of course, is going to be Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, who is now filming her movie and will most likely end up being the new Batgirl Beyond, because that's been heavily rumored for a very long time. Grace Randolph said it. Casey Walsh from the Geeks Worldwide said it. A lot of people have said it. And if that's what they're going for, and again, look at how the company operates, look at how the company likes to make their decisions, and ask yourself if that does not seem, I don't know, maybe a little bit on the on the nose. Maybe a little bit. That's what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be pretty interesting how they're gonna do that. I mean, most people would want not Batgirl Beyond, but like the regular Batman Beyond. But it's what we're getting, so we're gonna have to pretty much see. Cause that's what it seems like. It's gonna be like Batgirl Beyond. That's what I'm getting. Cause they're gonna have Keaton in it, and he's gonna be like the. So I don't know.
And the thing is, I don't want that. I want Terry McGinnis. I want future cyberpunk Gotham. You know what? But I've said this. I said this on Twitter today, and I'll say it again here. What I believe Warner Brothers needs to do, and again, this is a hot take. Warner Brothers right now needs to cease and desist of all live action comic book adaptations, including the Batman. I'm not, and I know, hard take, but let me explain why. They need to sit there and they need to refocus all of their energy on animated movies, but not what they've done. I mean, upping the game with animation, upping the animation. Look at DC League of Super Pets. What in the ever loving dick is that fucking movie? It's a vehicle for The Rock and for Kevin Hart to once again talk a little bit of trash to each other, and that's really about it. And then it's like, oh, okay, this looks like shit, but the animation looks pretty solid. So why not actually take all of that talent over at the Warner Animation Group and actually like put it into a solid Superman animated movie? Give us the Man of Tomorrow animated movie and really sell it. Like Bruce Timm the fuck out of that shit and sell it. Because I'm telling you, you could have $1 billion animated movie of a Superman film that's fucking animated, and then have spin-offs galore that are animated. And then people, because again, you talk to people about DC and what do they say? I like the animated stuff because it's been good. It's always been good.
Yeah.
So just focus on that.
Have you seen Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix?
I've seen season 1. I haven't seen season 2.
Like they could definitely imagine if DC animation like took some of the like realistic aspects and kind of used some of the animation styles that we've seen in Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah.
And did animated films. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what they could have done with like Injustice, but that movie was trash on its own, so it didn't really need a different type of animation style. It's just a writing and voice actors trash. But imagine if they took some of like these other animation styles that we've seen in like Love, Death, and Robots, for example. Like, oh man, that would be amazing. Like the Michael B. Jordan episode was amazing, and I just love the different animation styles that we've seen in that Netflix show because it's just really cool, and that's what I love about it because all the different stories, different animation style per episode, and I just would love to see more animation projects throughout different IPs. You like utilize some of these like higher quality animation styles as well.
I love some of the comments that are just like, no, that's a terrible take. Dude, ask a lot of people how they feel about DC animated, and it's generally regarded as high. And then ask them how they feel about DC movies, and they're like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, play to your strengths. DC is something that, unless you're going to have a consistent tone throughout, which they haven't quite done yet, that it's best to go to what you're good at, and that, of course, is the movies. Megapodtastic, I did send you a DM on Twitter. Check that out. Also, real quick here, there's 117 people that are here, so thank you guys very much. If you want, or 124 now, just upped. If you guys want, please consider leaving a like. It is Christmas. That would be a very nice gift to me. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Be sure to hit the bell if you guys haven't subscribed, and let's continue on because Rational here. Skeptic for $5. Thanks, buddy. He says Darkseid exists outside of the multiverse, so eventually he has to come anyway. And what happened to JJ Superman film? Haven't heard word on that. I think it's because it's in development, and I think they want to get past like all of this shit to like maybe wait for it to come out. But the thing is, like, no one is asking for it, and there's actually been a lot of people. No, I mean, like, I've seen a fair amount of people of color come out against this movie. Like, they're like, no,
since
we don't
the start. Yeah.
Like, we don't want this, blah, you know, we don't want this at all. And I'm like, I look, Superman fighting a black Superman fighting for civil rights during the 1960s is a very fascinating concept.
It is, but like people don't want to see. They want to see like Val Zod or Calvin Ellis. That's like the main like argument that people don't want to see this. It's like there's already characters like Black Superman that have been established in the comics. Why don't they go with that instead of, you know, just doing Clark Kent, but obviously a different race?
Yeah, no, exactly. I just feel like they need to really kind of work on that. Again, it's all the marketing, it's all the messaging, and it's how they're going to sell it to the audience. Because the thing is, like, the vocal audience of DC fans on Twitter there's a large majority that is the Snyder fandom, and they have to contend with that. The problem though is that the media is the enthusiast media is not a fan of all this. Like they don't like it, so they come out and they attack it. And with Warner's not saying anything about it, that generally becomes the narrative. And I hate that because it's not true. It's not always true. The media says what they're going to say, and that's, again, there's that. Let's see. RPK says, as a black man, if they use Val Zod in that concept, I would be interested. And they should like have a pre-established character
exactly
that comes in and does all that. And then do it. Like, I think that's a very interesting timeline to explore.
For
sure. Like there's the new Ray Fisher show, the Women of the Movement. The first season is all about the murder of Emmett Till and his mother's activism. And that is such a powerful story. Like, that very much was tied into that whole time period. And I'm like, man, imagine telling a superhero story during that time, that perspective, using that anger and that rage and that emotion for change, and like telling it from that way could be inspiring to some people. But the way that they presented this in some of the arguments came out as being more pandering than inspiring, and that's a problem. When you want to be inspiring but it comes across as pandering, it's not a good sign. So we got Crazy Joe. What's going on, dude?
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, buddy. How you doing?
I am tireder than I should be, but other than that, good.
That's just called getting old.
Yes. Old and with a 6-year-old who's so high energy that no one can keep up.
Oh yeah. Hold on here. Rational here says, Matt, so 3 on-screen Supermen: Henry Cavill, Clark Kent. Oh, Henry Cavill's Clark Kent, Michael B. Jordan's Val Zod, and JJ Superman. I mean, look, at this point, anything could happen. With Warner's, they could look at No Way Home and just go like copy everything.
They're probably like, yes, we want the potential $1 billion movie. All right, let's do it. Let's figure out a way we can just pluck everything and put it into a film.
Oh yeah. Fourth year asks, why does Black Superman have to be set during the slave times or Jim Crow? Can't we evolve past this? Well, it's I would argue, and this is just my take on it, I would argue that it has a lot to do with where we find ourselves currently in the time frame right now. Race relations in the United States specifically have not been going very well in some areas, and there's a growing disparity in a number of ways. And I think that having a rallying cry of hope based around a character as popular as this, that is known for hope, might do a little bit to kind of like send the right message. Although, look, dude, anything could happen. It could horribly backfire, which I do think that it probably would, because I don't really see J.J. Abrams being able to like produce that well. Although Ta-Nehisi Coates, that's kind of their jam. That kind of commentary is their jam. So you don't know what's going to happen with that.
Has there been an announcement about that JJ movie? Like, this is the first time I'm hearing this about the slave times. I never. Not
during the slave time. Not during that time.
Okay.
What we're talking about is during the 1960s civil rights movement.
Is that when they're saying it's going to happen?
That is the speculation for right now.
Yeah, this stuff was like mentioned, like months ago when it first was kind of like teased at.
But they're also saying it's going to be the Calvin Ellis version of the character, right?
No,
that's what was reported by Slash Film like about a month ago.
I think I don't know if that's going to be what it is. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen that article per se. Maybe that is what they've updated it with. Again, there hasn't really been much on
Honestly,
that one.
I am of the opinion that movie is not actually happening, but I could be wrong.
Well, we've all been wrong before, I think. So there's that. Although Shrek is Daddy's asking, did I miss the Kevin Spacey talk? No. While we're on the subject of DC, we'll keep on the subject of DC. And we'll go from there. Let me just bring up the one here I wanted to bring up. So, okay. All right. So here's something that's been happening right now on Twitter since last night. And that has actually been a very fascinating conversation because Kevin Spacey has been trending a lot. And it has a lot of people asking the question, why is Kevin Spacey trending? Well, have you guys followed what Kevin Spacey has been doing during the holidays the last couple of years?
Well, for the last 3 years, he's put out those really, really creepy Christmas messages.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why he's trending. Because everybody on Twitter is excited for the next weird-ass Kevin Spacey Christmas message.
I'm excited because I'm like, what type of weird shit is this man gonna do this time? Like, why he's gonna put some fear into my soul, like he did the previous year with his whatever one he did by the fire. That one was creepy.
Oh no, the whole thing is creepy, especially given the context of the fact that he's channeling Frank Underwood, who did underhanded, deceitful things in order to become the president of the United States, and then in real life, Kevin Spacey has been accused of a bunch of underhanded, sneaky things that are very kind of, icky and ooh. And then, of course, witnesses have died in regards to some of those accusations. I'm not even making that up either. People have legitimately died.
Bro, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I think like 2 people that were going to be witnesses against him have both passed away. And it's definitely nuts here.
That's
so it says every year since 2018 on December 24th, Spacey has released a monologue video on his YouTube channel, often making reference to his House of Cards character Frank Underwood. Spacey is trending online as people anticipate another short video of him, implying that his unhinged Christmas videos are now part of their traditions. Which, if you think about it, that's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's just people are like, oh, I really wonder what that dude's up to. I mean, like, he's maybe a creep, or maybe a rapist. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. But, man, I want to see him come out and just kind of knock it out of the fucking park.
They are a fascinating watch. Like, because you watch him and it's like, well, this is a guy who has no self-awareness. Like, why would you put something like this out? Like, you're literally watching somebody mentally self-destruct in front of you.
Yeah. No, oh no, you absolutely are. I'm checking his trailer, or I'm checking his channel right now to see if he's posted anything. Has he? I don't see anything on there. The last thing he posted was 1-800-XMIS, and that was 1 year ago. So it's possible that I'll post something tomorrow, and go from there. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see all that. So yeah, it says here that his career was damaged since October 2017, when actor Anthony Rapp alleged Spacey once made sexual advances towards him. 15 others then came forward alleging similar stories of abuse. And I mean, like, that is, a lot of those accusations came out. And then, the YouTube drops without notice. So no one knows when they're going to drop. They just randomly drop, and it's weird as fuck. And the first one he did here was one called Let Me Be Frank, which was a monologue from the show, which has 13, does it have 13 million views? 12 million views from 3 years ago. Like, I mean, it's just the weirdest shit that he comes out and does all this stuff. I haven't seen 1-800-XMIS yet, but I don't want to get yeeted for showing it. Now, here's a reason why I don't think we've seen anything out of him just yet. And I have a feeling that it has to do with the fact that he's currently in Italy, or he was in Italy earlier this year, July at least, filming a new movie. Because remember, that was the big news that came out.
Somebody hired him?
Someone hired him. An Italian director hired him to come, to do in this movie. But dude, this is how Hollywood operates, right? This is how Hollywood operates. You get canceled. You go away for a couple years. Behind the scenes, you start working some deals. You end up getting smaller roles. If those roles work out well, it starts to do well. You get money, you get prestige, you get fame. You start getting those awards. And then all of a sudden, people just go, oh, yeah, that happened a long time ago, but they're clearly not that person anymore, and we've moved on.
I don't see that working out for him. I mean, this isn't like mean tweets that he put out. Or
no, I know. This is some shit. But dude, I mean, even I'll put it to you like this: like if like Bill Cosby got out on a technicality, right?
Right.
He was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He got out on a technicality. That motherfucker is already planning to go on the road again and do comedy tours at the age of like 80, near death, during COVID.
Heightened security.
And yeah, well, he's
Cosby
also got
has
a lot of.
He has a lot in common with Spacey. They're both unrepentant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the whole thing is like, but there's enough people out there that will come out to support. It's just, I mean, when you're a celebrity and you get canceled, it doesn't necessarily matter for what it's for. I think outside of like really hurting kids is kind of like the only thing.
Also being Justice Smollett, that case also, I don't know if that guy's ever going to get work again after.
Oh, he might go away for up to 20 years too. I was reading about that.
Yeah.
For getting found guilty. Yeah. And the thing is, he faked it. He faked the whole thing. So it's,
and then he lied on the stand, which honestly, he should get another charge for that.
He might. They might.
Yeah.
Tony makes a great point. Says when Anthony Rapp told the Stacey story, the man was lambasted for coming out as gay, as if all LGBT people do this kind of wrongdoing. No, 100%, like 100%. That was his response. Was like, I now live openly as a gay man. Like, that's not the answer, Chief. That's not the answer. So it's like, well, Zaya Jones here says James Gunn did repulsive things and he's back working for Disney. What did James Gunn do that was repulsive? Make terrible jokes on Twitter? Because that's it.
Not the same.
That's not the same thing. I mean, if you want to sit there and argue that like his jokes were in poor taste and everything else, 100%. You know what I mean? But you also have to look at the context of when those jokes were made. 2010 to 2013 Twitter was literally the wild, wild west. People said all sorts of shit all over social media to get as much attention as they could, and the edgier, the better. It was the height. It was like those were the years like where 4chan was like, very, very, very popular and everything else. So those were some jokes. They weren't good. They weren't funny, but they didn't do anything. Yeah. Seamus here says James Gunn didn't rape people because he didn't rape anybody. So obviously I know what you're trying to argue, but it's not accurate on this front. I'm wondering though, if we are going to see a new Kevin Spacey video tomorrow, and then what I'm going to be more interested in is the reaction to it, because if people are excited for Kevin Spacey to be, to put out a new video, that means they're excited to see him act again, whether it's crazy or not. They're excited to see him act. That builds social media buzz. Oh, people are excited for Kevin Spacey. We see a lot of people out there that really want to see what he's going to do next. And let's put him in something, because obviously that there is money to be made there.
Yeah,
and that just shows you how utterly defunct our entire system is.
We're like at the point where I'm embarrassed by the Kevin Spacey things that I like from his past now. Like, for example, I think he's a great Lex Luthor. And whenever I say he's a great Lex Luthor, I'm like, all right, look, I know he's a terrible human being, but I'm just saying from a performance standpoint, it's like, because you don't even want to give him credit.
No, I mean, you don't, but it's, yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, look, people come forward and they make accusations. Not every accusation has turned out to be true.
True.
And I'm not saying that in Kevin Spacey's camp. I don't know. I mean, but there's been other accusations made, especially in the Me Too era, that we have found out are false.
I always remind people that Bryan Singer's never been found guilty of anything. He probably is, but nothing's ever stuck.
Well, the thing that the big one though that failed on him was back in 2014. This guy named Michael Egan came out right before the release, like a month and a half before the release of X-Men Days of Future Past, using that prime marketing time to come out and accuse him of sexual assault when Michael Egan was 17. And Michael Egan had said that he was flown to Hawaii. He was assaulted in Hawaii and then by Singer, and then he went home back to California, I think. Well, the thing is the time frame that Michael Egan gave was, I think, August 1999. And call sheets from the set of X-Men from Toronto, Canada, in August of 1999 were brought back out as evidence to prove that this was a false claim. So, that whole thing went away.
Yeah.
And that kind of like got, but then down the road, people have come out and they've made claims about Bryan Singer the other day, one of his former boyfriend, I think, came out and there was a whole article, I think in LA Times, I think, or something like that. Maybe it was Hollywood Reporter, Variety, had come out detailing elements of his relationship that was like, abusive. And then that was corroborated by like interviewing 20 other people, I think. So, Bryan Singer is probably never going to make a movie again in Hollywood, or he'll never make a movie under his own name, is probably what's going to happen. But again, it can be the same thing. You lay down low enough for a while, you come back out, people are going to forget. Sure, it might pop up. But then it's like, well, did he ever get arrested for it? Did he ever get charged for it? Oh, accusations? I mean, well, that one accusation was clearly false, and then it just delineates everything. And then he's back to making studio movies again because the average person doesn't know. And as much as, look, again, we've been in a Me Too now for 4 years, and the movement itself has like almost kind of fallen apart in some ways, where the Time's Up movement, which was kind of running side by side with Me Too, most of its upper leadership just left, and they're doing an entire restructure. Because they raised money in order to pursue civil suits against potential perpetrators. And I don't know if they did or didn't, but if they were having all these issues, that would tell me that they probably weren't doing what they set out to do. And everything else. So it's a very convoluted situation. Has John Barrowman been canceled? See, that's a great question from H-Parts. Are you familiar with John Barrowman, Joe?
Absolutely. I've met him at a couple cons.
Do you
nice
know
guy, I thought. I never heard anything about him being canceled.
Yeah, he likes to wave his dick at people.
Oh.
He really does. He'll do this, and this is, I'm not even making this up. This is legitimately like John Barrowman. Really, he's very effeminate. Like, I don't want to say effeminate. He's very free-spirited is the word I want to use. He's very free-spirited, and I have my friend's wife, die-hard, third-wave, liberal feminist. And I mean, like, her and I cannot talk about anything without getting into a fight. And even though I'm lefty as hell, we disagree on a few tenets. But the thing is, though, is that, like, when we were at Comic-Con once, and again, she is, like, pro Me Too, pro all this shit. She starts telling me stories about John Barrowman, about how she would go see him in panels. And, like, he would tell stories about whipping his dick out. And like at like female co-stars or other people on set. And she would be laughing about this because she enjoyed the stories because John is so out there and he's so flamboyant and he's so free spirited and that, like, whatever. And it's like, and I'm going like, in back of my mind, I'm like, wait, like none of that's okay. Yeah. Like none of that is okay to do this, to wave your junk at people. But then when all Me Too happened, and I heard about this well before Me Too, when Me Too happened, there was nothing about John Barrowman. Eventually stuff did come out, and I believe he's apologized. I don't know if he ever got in any trouble really, but like it did come out a little bit, but a lot of people, they kind of downplayed it because guess what? They like John Barrowman. And again, it's all about your persona. If people like you and you're a horrible person, they will overlook how horrible you are because they like you. And it downplays a lot of it because they like who you are as a person, or they like what you provide, or they like whatever. So right. It's one of those weird things.
It's why no sexual harassment charges would ever stick with Bill Clinton for like 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, I mean, Bill Clinton has got his stuff. I mean, wasn't that Juanita Broderick was one of the women that accused him, I think? Yep. I mean, I will say, as much as I don't like Donald Trump, him bringing out all those accusers to one of the debates with Hillary Clinton and having him sit there right in the front was hardcore as fuck. I was like, yeah, wow.
That was wild. I'm like,
that was wow. I'm like, that is a move. I don't know if I respect it. But I mean, like, as far as like, that is the equivalent of whipping your dick on the table and going, your move. Like literally. Literally. But you got to give Hillary Clinton credit. It didn't really phase her. She still lost, but like, I mean, and that's embarrassing though for her. That's the thing. Like, if he was up against Bill Clinton and he did that, it's one thing, but to use it against his wife is like another. You know, like in essence, it's kind of a baller move, but when you start looking at it from like the perspective of like who it's aimed at, you're like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Like I would never do it like that. You know, I probably would never do it in general because like I would probably never think of to do anything like that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that was one of the things that like cracked me up. All right, so yeah, Geekicidal tendencies here. It says people love horrible people, hence all the true crime YouTube channels and all the serial kill docs on Netflix. I mean, like, I like true crime. I cover true crime occasionally. I find motivations of serial killers fascinating and the stories around them fascinating. I try not to lionize them, you know, but like sometimes things happen in some of these stories where it's too wild to like not kind of go, God damn, like, holy shit, that was like, how did this happen? You know? So, and I've gotten in trouble like that before where it's like my reaction, people think I'm like happy about it. It's like, no, I'm just like shocked and I don't know how else to respond. So there's all that. Anyway, let's get into, what's the other thing I had here? Oh, all right. So, this Enosh might come in for this, I guess. I was going to bring up the Grant Morris, the George, not Grant Morrison, the George Miller clip that's going around today. Did you happen to hear about that at all? The Reddit interview or like the IGN interview with George Miller about Superman?
I did not.
Nope.
So this is definitely an interesting piece because it's got a lot of people talking, and I want to get your guys' take on it. So here it is.
Has different takes on Superman. Grant Morrison depicts him as this kind of scientist explorer. He's also been an alien and immigrant. I was wondering, what's your take on that character, considering you were close to directing the movie with him in it?
He's potentially a very boring character because he has no fault. So you have to really got to find whatever his demons really to get an internal conflict going. Somehow you've got to do that, and whether that's by an external agency or something deep inside of himself, you need that conflicted character, and that's what made the Greek gods so great. I mean, they were somewhere close. They were jealous. They were vengeful. They were hubristic. They had all these things going for them, and I think that's why Batman's such an interesting character, because he's human, and he's just like us. So he's much more relatable in someone who's just perfect.
I mean, that's an interesting little take right there, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't know that I disagree with him. Like, I know in Superman Returns, I kept hearing people complain, well, he didn't hit anyone. And I kept thinking, well, isn't that a more interesting Superman story? Because Superman against a physical adversary, you know he's going to win. He's Superman. Superman going through emotional turmoil. Superman going through something that's in his head. Or
Psychological.
That's a more interesting story, I think. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, yeah, you got all this power, but you still have to deal with the human crap.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I think that's kind of the thing I enjoy about Zack Snyder's approach is the deconstruction of the character. And Zach has been open about how people out there don't like the deconstruction of the character, that they, you know, and again, that's kind of the whole point. If you look at Man of Steel, what a lot of people say about Man of Steel, they go, they don't, Zach didn't get the character of Superman. He totally screwed it up. Superman would never do that. Blah, 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 blah. Superman would never kill, all this kind of stuff. And I've always enjoyed the more morally ambiguous aspect of it all. I've always enjoyed the idea that, you know, you have a man who is a god amongst men, and he could destroy each and every one of them if he wanted to. It wouldn't even matter. He could rule everything. It wouldn't even matter. But what would that accomplish? And like, it, you know, would that give him what he wants? And, you know, he's always got to kind of battle that. Never mind battle people's expectations of him. And the problem with that, though, is I feel a lot of the iterations of Superman that we see outside of the comic book realm, because there's so many different runs, and I don't think that's a fair argument to make. A lot of the, I think people, they play up kind of like the infallible person. And I think, like, again, Christopher Reeves, who I do love in the role, kind of played it like that. Kind of played it like he was Clark Kent was a fuddy-duddy. Clark Kent was a boring guy. Clark Kent couldn't, if Clark Kent had a Tinder back in 1978, even as hunky as he was, probably still would not be able to close the deal. Because like he was just a geek. But it was Superman who was like, that was the baller. And then you get to like Snyder stuff, and you get a much more nuanced Clark that I think comes from being raised by a much more nuanced Jonathan Kent, and who was asking the hard questions and putting out there like that. And I think what makes Superman more interesting as a character is around him that influence him to ask those questions, and rather than just like be the man with no flaws. And I don't know, maybe I think fundamentally overall he's a boring character. That's not to say you can't make him interesting, but I think again you look at it like it's a lump of clay. It's a lump of clay that can do anything you want. Now you have to find a way to shape that lump of clay into something that's going to be a fascinating story. And not everyone can pull it off.
Yeah. I was gonna say Enosh is in the chat, but it's an imposter. That's not him.
Oh, it's not? Okay, so there's been a lot of imposters tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming because it's just based on what I'm reading. It
oh yeah. Also, come pray with me. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's see. Fourth Year says, I feel that Reeves Superman was too narcissistic when he saves people. He needs to be bask in the glow, or bask and glow in the praise. I mean, maybe. I don't know if I necessarily got that. I know in the case of like Cavill was just like, kind of unsure about it. I felt like it was always kind of an unease type situation with him. As these kind of stories went on, like he was like, in BVS especially, like, I don't know what I want to do, sort of thing. Don't look at me. I'm just chilling. And everything else. Anyway, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like George Miller is necessarily wrong here, but it really makes me wonder, how Superman would have been in his Justice League.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm not disagreeing with George Miller, but I don't think Superman is a boring character. I think he can be written as boring. It really comes down to who the writer is. So he's not wrong, but I think he's coming at it the wrong place. It's not, this is a boring character. It's this can be a boring character. It's really all in the approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that front, specifically. I saw this one going around today, and there was a big debate over it on social media. This interview is actually from 2015. We can see that the Mad Max Fury Road image is right there. And again, it's kind of relatable even today. A lot of people are looking at it from that perspective, I feel. And they have been, talking about it because I think a lot of people really want to relate to Superman, even though I don't know if he should necessarily be a relatable character. Batman being a human, having no powers, just being rich and smart and handsome and talented and athletic, way more relatable than a humble Kansas boy who is also God.
It's weird though, because Batman isn't relatable either, though, because he's super rich. Like, none of us are ever going to have like Batman's money. So I think it's interesting because Superman, being the small town guy raised on a farm, that aspect of him is more relatable.
Yeah.
But the power is the part that isn't. And with Batman, you've got the humanity, which is more relatable, but he's in a situation that only like 1% of us could ever relate to. So it's kind of a weird mix between the two.
Yeah, they each have their thing that kind of is a drawback, I guess.
Yeah, well, a geeky nerd here says Superman isn't a boring character. So much heart and emotion can be found in the character, but a lot of writers duck him up so easily, and that annoys me. Again, it's like, but just because a character has heart and emotion, it doesn't mean you can make a compelling story out of it. And that, of course, is really the crux of everything. How do you tell a story with this character and make it compelling? You want to root. We root for the underdog in these stories all the time. We're so psychologically prone to root for the underdog that when you have a character who does have no fundamental physical flaws, it's very difficult to put him in a position that is going to really make him, feel like he's the underdog. Because what's he up against that could hurt him? A rock from his planet that blew up. Okay, hard to get, but apparently it's a thing. And then you've also got magic. But they haven't really introduced that yet in a way that's like theatrical. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Black
Kenneth,
Adam.
yeah, that's if it goes that far. And honestly, I don't think it will. I given The Rock's propensity to dip out of things that don't work well for him. If Black Adam kind of tanks, that's the thing. So let's see here. Kenneth says, Jarbo, I know you've not seen Superman and Lois, but on that show he has flaws too, with him raising a family and such, showing a new aspect to him. That's a good show. I hear it's a good show.
Yeah,
and I hear they do a lot with that. So, and that's good, because that's what I want to see. I just need to sit down and actually watch it. I missed one up here. Okay. Shogun Orta, for $5, buddy. Thank you so much. Says they might play it where Soups is good/perfect, but he's also naive. Conflict is that he doesn't understand the nuances of human living. Well, the thing is though, he's been raised as a human. So the nuances of human living is not something that is going to be, like naive to. It's not going to be like, foreign to him. Right. Because like he's grown up here. He speaks the language. He understands the culture. He's ingratiated himself into it completely, or integrated himself into it completely. So the only difference is that he can fly and deflect bullets and stop crime. So it's not so much that he's like naive. The naivety would not come from his being like an immigrant or an extraterrestrial. The naivety would come from the fact that he literally grew up as a Kansas farm boy. Does that make sense? Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
So it's like, that's kind of where the naivety comes from. And that's kind of, like you'd want to see Superman go to, oh man, like you'd want to see him go to New York or Metropolis and then just straight up get mugged, right? And then not do anything about it. I think that would be a much more like, that would be for one, the naivety of whatever, and then knowing that you could do something, but is it ultimately worth it? Because like, what if you go too far? I think those kind of moral questions could be a fascinating take on the character.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So anyway, that's all. I just want to talk about that one a little bit here. We are coming up on 2 hours and 14 minutes. I actually have got to start getting to bed because, of course, Christmas. One more little story to talk about here. I don't know how you guys feel, I should say, about the Game of the Thrones, but Peter Dinklage has come out and defended the series finale of the show that has been a very hot point of contention for a lot of fans over the course of the past couple of years.
I'll join that boat.
He says here that Game of Thrones fans are upset because they wanted a happy ending for the pretty white people.
Oh man,
I'm honestly not sure what he means by that.
Well, let's see more of the quote here. Good old Peter Dinklage. It says here they wanted the pretty white people to ride off in the sunset together. And the thing is though, like, I don't necessarily think that he's wrong. There were a lot of people that wanted Daenerys and Jon Snow to get together to be king and queen, or queen and king, and then like just not tell anybody that they're related and that they're smashing pelvises. Yeah. Right. And the reality of it is, in the logic of the show, that wouldn't have been that foreign of a concept.
Yeah, because that's kind of like the Targaryen,
Yeah, the
in the bloodline.
Yeah, it's incest is the best put your sister to the test sort of thing. That was Jaime Lannister's entire motto.
That was the whole start of the whole show. Is like literally Bran getting pushed off, and it started this whole shitstorm over that, hiding that secret.
So, Fourth here says, "Oh God, another lefty race baiter." Not really. It's like was there anyone at the end of that was not white? Outside of maybe like Grey Worm.
That was the one I was thinking.
But everyone else, all the main characters that were there pretty translucent, pretty Caucasian, because this is based around, again, medieval Europe, which is going to be white AF, much, Essos and everything else is definitely more Middle Eastern, looking at the Dothraki. And like, look at some of the towns they went to. So again, the people that were in the show were very attractive white people. It's not racist to say that. It's not a race baiter to say that. That is literally stating an objective fact. Also, it's a bit of a flex. It's a bit of a flex on Peter Dinklage's part, right? He's like, the pretty white people, me included, like, that's all I'm saying. So why bring up race? Because he's just talking about it. He's just talking about it, right? And so I just find that to be kind of funny. But all right, let's go on here. So Dinklage then cited Game of Thrones' fantastical elements as a reason to not really get caught up in the show, saying here, by the way, it's fiction. There's dragons in it. Move on. No, but the show subverts what you think, and that's what I love about it. It's called Game of Thrones, but at the end, the whole dialogue when people would approach me on the street was, who's going to be on the throne? I don't know why that was their takeaway, because the show was more than that. And he's not wrong. I mean, granted, it is about who's going to sit on the Iron Throne at the end.
It was a game of who can somehow perverse their way and control and get power.
Yeah, exactly. It was who can play the game, right? We know that Cersei played the game to get on the Iron Throne for a while. Yeah. And then there was a huge mounting against her, which then failed and resulted with her dying by being crumbled by rocks with her brother, which is kind of weird, but okay. There were Robert Baratheon played the game through Robert's Rebellion, was king, hated it.
Usurper, yeah.
He was a usurper. He hated it. Ultimately was killed. Oh, by who? By Cersei, who had used her cousin with whom she was fucking, so playing that game, in order to get him to poison the wine to make Robert slow, and then a boar, gutted him and shit.
Littlefinger was probably one of the best people to play the game. I mean, he really just is like the whole reason of the show.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the whole notion of like, there was a lot of people doing different things that got them to that point where they could have been sitting on the Iron Throne, or look at Stannis Baratheon. He was like one of 9 people making their run for the throne. What about Robert Stark? What about all the other people? What about the other? There was the other Baratheon guy who was killed by the weird demon baby. Whatever his name was, I forget. It was Renly, right? Or Renly. That's who it was.
Yeah,
a lot of people died trying to, trying to get there. And this is what we learned over the years. Now, what I love here is this next line that says, Dinklage also says he believed that people rallied against the finale almost out of anger, as if they were in a relationship and were being broken up with. Now, let me explain why he's right about that. So there's a thing called cortisol, right? We all have it. Cortisol is generally what happens. We produce it when we're upset or stressed. High cortisol levels really fuck with us, right? It's like how we feel pain. So, in like emotional pain, essentially. The best way to describe it's like this. When you have loss in your life, a pet, a friend, a family member, you feel pain. You feel physical pain. You're upset. It hurts. It sucks. It drags you down. This same thing can actually happen with characters in TV shows that you like or movies that you like. Have you ever cried at the death of somebody? Have you ever cried at somebody getting what they want in the end? Have you ever felt emotion towards something that happened to a character? That is your body physically responding to your emotional connection with those characters. So when characters you love die or do not get the outcome that you want, you start to feel physical pain as if you are experiencing real loss. And that is probably why a lot of people were not very happy. That show, just to give you an idea, at the end of the first season of that show, in 2011, 4 million people on average were watching it. That's not very much, but 4 million people on average. By the end of season 8, it was 20 million people an episode. And here's the thing. For both of that, season 1 to season 8, double the amount of double that number, And half of that are people who pirated it. That is how popular that show was. Over 40 million people by the end were invested into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They weren't really happy with it. All right. So it's kind of like so they're feeling this kind of stuff. So that's what he's talking about here. Now he says here, but it was the right time. No less, no more. You don't want to wear out your welcome. Although I'm not sure that the show could have. But I think the reason there was some backlash about the ending is because they were angry at us for breaking up with them. We were going off the air and they didn't know what to do with their Sunday nights anymore. They wanted more, so they backlashed about that. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if you give a show a good enough ending, it's fine. Breaking Bad was like that too. It had a solid enough finale to where you're like, okay.
Seems with Sons of Anarchy as well.
Well, I did not like the finale of Sons of Anarchy, and I'll tell you this though, when they killed off Unser and there was absolutely no effing fanfare, nothing, no mention of it, no mourning of a guy who'd literally been in every single episode from the beginning. There was no love whatsoever for that character. I was pissed.
Yeah, because
I was pissed.
He was a great character.
He was a great character, and then of course the ending of it was very Shakespearean. But the thing is, the first season of Sons of Anarchy is effectively a retelling of Hamlet. So that's that.
Yeah.
But I don't think about the Sunday night comment. I get what he's trying to say there. It's a tradition. I think is what he's trying to argue, is that it's a tradition. Yeah. But another thing about this that he's not talking about, because I don't think he's fully aware of it, but there was also very similar to the attacks on The Last Jedi, very similar on the attacks to other fan properties. There was a coordinated effort from certain people, the people that I make fun of all the time on Chud Watch, that were running narratives at the time of trying to call this an unmitigated disaster, that it was dead, it was over, it was gone, it was destroyed, it destroyed itself, nobody likes it, the show is terrible, it's dropping in viewers, the ratings are shit. All of these things that they tried to say constantly to frame it as a negative in their mind. And we know that if you repeat something enough to susceptible people, they will eventually believe it. Mm-hmm. And I think that the people out there that wanted to believe that Game of Thrones was bad because of some poor storytelling elements, and I'll grant them that criticism. All right. Like they started jumping around the map like they had fucking fast travel. And that was a little bit off-putting, but again, at the end of the day, this is where they wanted to end it. Did they stick the landing? In some aspects, yes. In other aspects, no. But it's not as bad as people made it out to be, because I do think there was a lot of people out there that were really manipulated into believing that.
I didn't watch the show at the end. I watched it about halfway through and dropped off somewhere in the middle. So I never saw the ending. But the one thing I do know is that George R.R. Martin supposedly gave these guys the outline of how the show was supposed to end.
Yeah, it wasn't the exact same, but it's attempt, because he wanted it to be different from the book so people could still read the book. So it's basically the main points, but not exactly of how the books would go. Which I don't.
Oh no, George sold them out. George sold them the fuck out though, man. Flat out. That's the thing with George that really angers me, is because he sold them out. He if he didn't tell them the ending of the show, that's on him. That's on him. Where's the last two books, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. What was it, season 6 or 7 is when they got off of kind of the
I think it was season 5 or something. I know
it was they had a couple seasons where they literally just had to make shit up and try to continue what they think George would do based off his guidance, which it was just oh no. I knew as soon as he got off of the source material and the books, I knew it was gonna kind of go downhill, because George R. R. Martin can only do so much. But yeah.
Well, that's the thing though, is I know some of the worst people on the internet really turned it into the two guys, the two showrunners whose names escaping me,
Dan and Dave.
Yeah, it was they were the worst people ever. We gotta never support anything they do again. Yeah. And it's well, wait a minute. We know they were provided an ending by George R. R. Martin. So how do you know the ending you don't like? How do you know that wasn't his ending? And he's not rushing to make those books. So there's a part of me that thinks he's sitting there going, why do I want to knock myself out and write books that are going to lead to an ending that the audience already hates? And then You know, his only alternative then is follow through or change the ending now.
That's probably why it's taking so long. It's like, shit.
So what's his motivation? Like, I don't know that I'd want to finish it at this point.
Yeah, it's like, I have all the books, too, and I'm like, I want to see. But then again, like, all the books have been really different compared to what the show. Like, there's, like, certain characters that actually live, like, longer.
Oh, there's a lot of characters that live in the books,
I forget Ned Stark's wife. She survives the Red Wedding in the books.
Yeah, she does. And she becomes Lady something or another and like goes on a revenge arc.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vince Batchelor says the introduction of plot armor in later seasons was what killed it for me in the end. Situations that would have killed characters in earlier seasons just didn't anymore. Well, at the same time, by that point you have your established characters, and your established characters are they're gonna survive. All right, I'll give you a great quote about that. If you go back to the movie Last Action Hero, there's a part when they're talking towards, like, I think it's like towards the third act, where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, like, I'm paraphrasing, but he goes like, I keep getting into these crazier adventures and I keep living. And, he's implying that, like, every movie, he's done 4 of these films at this point, like the character. And so he just keeps living through crazier and crazier scenarios, and he doesn't understand it. And that's kind of how I view what you're trying to say, because these characters are going to live around to the end, right? Now, ancillary characters are going to probably die without warning, as was the case for a while. But once you lock down your core cast, you're not going to kill them without reason, And again, the thing is because of the backlash on that. If you would have randomly had somebody walk up to Arya Stark and gut her in the streets for no reason, and you're like, oopsie, Game of Thrones, someone got her, Arya removed from the playing field. It's like people would have lost their shit. So you got to look at it again from the storytelling aspect of a television show. And as more shows go on, they kind of have to keep raising the stakes. And by raising the stakes, they're going to be going into these more crazy situations where then these characters may not survive. These characters may not survive in the way that you think they will. So it's something along those lines. I see what you're saying, but like you have to also look at it from the perspective of storytelling, and these characters have to get to the end, but they still have to have adventures. So I understand the argument, but I think it's kind of like, I'm not trying to explain it lazily, but that is how things are put together. H Bart's here for $5, buddy. Thank you. Says the show was his original ending, so he's going to change it for the book. I think so. I really do think so. I think he told them that it was going to be Bran, and they made it Bran, and then he saw the reaction to Bran, and he's all like, "Well, no, I'm gonna go and retcon it." Because who else would have been on there? Would he have made Jon Snow? If George R.R. Martin would have made Jon Snow the king, then Jon Snow would have been the fucking king.
Yeah,
like straight up, like he would have been the king. Ronaldo here says, I love George R.R. Martin, but he's so fucking slow. I get he's a slow writer, but come on. Oh, yeah, no, we watched a video of Stephen King kind of giving him a hard time about that and everything else. So I know it's not me echoing. It happens. It's StreamYard. Okay, Shogun here says they could have still knocked off main characters, but you'd need a convincing as hell reason to make it happen. Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, talking about just killing off main characters at random, as a Star Trek fan, I have always wanted to see them do an episode where the captain and a security team beam down to a planet, and the security teams are the only ones that survive.
That'd be fascinating.
Because that every time that happens, you're like, well, those guys are dead. It's like, I just would love to see them like turn something like that on its head. Of course, that would be the only reason to do it, is because nobody would see it coming.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like the Red Wedding was shocking for a lot of people because how violent it was.
Yeah.
And, so it's one of those things where I love Game of Thrones. I like the way it ended. I wasn't disappointed with it. Like there's elements of it that I wish I would have done differently or would have been more episodes or whatever. But I think for what we got, I was happy with it. And I want to see what more they're going to do with it. But even George R. R. Martin said in an interview just recently that he was surprised when he found out just how many Game of Thrones related shows HBO was working on, had in development. So like he's like either at this point he is just straight sold the rights to this shit to fucking, to Warner Brothers because they have it. And then, he's like, I don't have to worry about it because they're just going to build stuff. I just get paid. I never have to finish my work. Because honestly, George R.R. Martin is going to die before he finishes these books. And that is not a hyperbolic statement. It is not something that I want, but it's very much in line with like the dude is overweight and he's old. All right. Like I wish him no ill will, but let's be fair on this one. The guy is probably going to he's not going to finish the books. And then someone else is going to come along and probably finish him. And then everyone's going to be upset that he didn't finish him when he had the chance. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
Okay, hold on here. All right, fourth. Okay. Says Discovery has posted a Christmas picture of green northern lights on their social media too. Is that a coincidence with Zach's post? I don't know. Let me take a look here. Discovery, looking at their Twitter feed right now. Okay, 4 hours ago, they tweeted pictures of the northern lights. So that's the thing. Is that a oh my God, is there going to be all right, I'm already seeing a whole bunch of Snyder Cut fans come on in there and try to run it together.
Oh man, that's expected though. That's like
oh my God. Yep. All right.
Gerald's on it. He's on the case.
No, people are just like, oh, Snyderverse is coming. No, it's
I still maintain it's all Snyderverse because it's a shared universe. So,
well, we got to think of a new name for it, because Snyder has said that the Snyderverse is what he's working on, actively, like his original content. So we got to rebrand because if you don't, the guy said the boss El Jefe has said that this is not what it's called, and people keep calling it that. I know that's what that's what they want to call it, but it's like he's saying no, and that's not being respected. So it's all connected. I agree. I think they are keeping it kind of in line with the world, but I still stand by my whole point that they should definitely make it all animated on that note. But anyway, it is 12:20. I have got I got to get to bed because I still got to get some stuff done for the kids. I just got a message from the girlfriend that needs some assistance with some stuff. So I'll be on tomorrow night because I have nothing else really going on, unfortunately. And Command Unit, I know if you're still here, buddy, we'll check out the Warhammer video tomorrow. We'll do it early in the stream so we can just get out of the way. But I appreciate you support on that one. I just ran out of time tonight. Thank you, Jimbo and Joe, for coming on in. What is where can people find you guys?
You can go first, Joe.
Oh, all right. Megapodtastic here on YouTube. Megapodtastic wherever you find podcasts for the audio version, and that's it. And I just got to say real quick, my poor 6-year-old daughter is very, very concerned because I work the night shift, and she's afraid Santa's not going to come because I'm awake. I had to tell her that Santa has been made aware that I will be up and that I'm going to stay in the basement and not go up and mess with him.
Yeah, thankfully, my child is she's like I love Santa, and because we went out and looked for the lights people with the displays tonight, and she was having a blast, and she's like, oh, I love Santa, he's my favorite. And my dad was in the car with us, and he's like, is it because he gives you gifts? And she's all like, what? And she's 4, but no, she's looking forward to the morning, gonna get a whole bunch of good stuff, and then spend the day hanging out with the kids. It might snow, might actually snow. We'll have to wait and see. But all right, everybody, have yourself a merry Christmas.
He didn't.
Oh, right. Sorry, Jimbo. I'm sorry, Jimbo. I'm sorry.
I'll just get through it quick then. Well, you can find me at Black Ops JB on Twitter and Twitch, and at Black Ops JMB01 on YouTube.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you, everybody. Have yourself a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you guys celebrate. If it's nothing, you're a soulless bastard. No, I'm kidding. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Have yourself a great one, everybody, and peace the hell out. Oops.